Welcome to the Drew Yari Show.
Hey, what's going on, guys? We are back on Wednesdays again, and it is 9:07 p.m. here in San Antonio. Welcome to another episode of the Drew Yari Show. Of course, you already know me. I'm the host, Drew, and with me is Mr. Jeff LIPPMAN. What's going on, Jeff?
What's up, everyone? What's up, Drew? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, brother.
Yeah, you got it. So do you want to get straight into it, or you want to hear a funny, whimsical little story that involves me that occurred?
I want to hear the funny, whimsical story first. Okay.
So on Sunday, we're going to Doctor Strange 2. Mm-hmm. All right? So it's Mila Sicario and Juventud Sicario. So, of course, Juventud Sicario he's gonna reconnoiter the place and then, do surveillance. In other words, doesn't want to be seen with his mom and, we'll just call me stepdad to keep it simple. Mm-hmm. Of course, there's like 20 theaters in the place, and 10 are on one side of the building, 10 are on the other, and he walks in the wrong direction, but that's a different story. So anyway, this is an AMC. So the staff there all wears, black T-shirts with a red, AMC logo and the little name tag. I'm wearing a black shirt, but it's a long sleeve shirt. It's collared. It's a Lacoste, green alligator. No, Jeff. No AMC. Nothing. And in front of me are like these 5 girls, and by girls I mean like 10. 10 years old. Mm-hmm. And one of them takes the popcorn of one of the others. Yeah, they're just playing around. I think they all know each other. And one girl goes, "Excuse me, sir," to me, and goes, She took my popcorn. I'm like, do I look like a cop? She's like, well, yes. I say, well, do I look like the popcorn police? And she goes, well, I don't know, maybe. And so I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I'm like, come here. I'm like gesturing with my finger, come here to the other girl. I'm like, give the popcorn. And lo and behold, the girl listens. So she gives me the bag of popcorn, and the other girl goes, wait, that's my popcorn. I thought you were police. I said, I'm Baltimore police. We're corrupt. and she's like, no. I'm like, I'm kidding. I gave her back her popcorn. So I walk, so then I grab La Sicario's hand, and we walk away, and then the girls are all friends again. They're like, did you see that? Ooh. And then they go, ooh la la. And I go, that's right, ooh la la.
That sounds like a very Jeff LIPPMAN thing to do.
Yeah, it really was. So I don't know. I must be going on my 30th year of people in Baltimore thinking I'm a cop.
Right. Speaking of Baltimore, I'm really digging that show that you got me into, that We Own This City on HBO.
Yeah, that's a tough watch.
Oh yeah, it's not for everybody. I'll just put it to you. Put it to you that way, guys. Like, there's a lot of real shit in there, and like, there's really no good people in it. I mean, maybe like what's his name? The black detective. Was it Pruitt? That's his name.
Sean Pruitt, maybe. I don't know. I'm not at the end yet, but not exactly. I mean, maybe the DOJ woman, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, for all the time that the Baltimore's been under one of those consent decrees, I mean, where I think 2 commissioners in, 2 mayors in, the state's attorney's on that's been indicted. The former mayor's been indicted. And the murder rate might be a little bit down or close to the same, but it's proportionally higher than Chicago. So, I mean, and there's no shortage of drugs, and the police are still half-assing it, for reasons. I mean, the show's tough, but it's, I think it's a fair look at probably all cities, but probably cities that are maybe mid-major cities that are underfunded and understaffed and overburdened with problems that are, sort of the front edge of a wave that is, a country where we don't make that much anymore, so there's not really that industrial base.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore's a service city. I mean, and which is sort of a weird thing to have in the city where there's, I mean, it's like nobody says, it's like, before you die, you want to go to Paris. I don't think anyone says before I die, I want to go to Baltimore.
Oh, yeah, definitely not. Show's a good watch. Another fact I learned about The Wire. I mean, coincidentally, the same people who made, We Own This City, made The Wire, and it's, coincidentally set in Baltimore. One fact I learned about The Wire was that
no coincidences there.
Well, I'm saying coincidentally, like, because I don't think a lot of people know about the show too much, so I'm just kind of filling everybody in. But like,
they also did The Coroner. They also did Homicide: Life on the Streets. David Simon was the crime reporter for the Baltimore Sun. He's the one who wrote all those shows. He also wrote Treme and some other stuff as well. But it's no coincidence, because this is what he knows best, and then these are where his contacts are. But yeah, it's very real, and they give you sort of all sides of the story, and no sides of the story are good.
What I was going to say was, like, the research for The Wire, the people who made it, like, they really did their research to the point where it looked like not just a show about cops, so it looked like you were watching real shit, to the point where, local, law enforcement agencies were actually calling HBO and going, yeah, you guys are giving away way too much, so kind of maybe tone it down a little bit. That's an actual quote from one of the producers. But I want to get into The Wire. The Wire is on my watch list. I watched like maybe 2 episodes before I started watching We Own This City, so that's a show I'm going to binge. Homicide: Life on the Street I have heard of. That actually is in some ways connected to Law and Order SVU, because the actor on it who ended up playing Detective Munch. Yeah,
David Belzer or whatever his name is. They did a crossover where him and Ice-T became friends, and he went over to SVU or whatever the first show was. But yeah, Homicide: Life on the Streets is a fantastic television show, and you'll recognize a lot of the same actors they who sort of repeat, and like, for instance, one of the detectives in Homicide was one of the publishers or editors in season 5 of The Wire. So you'll see a lot of familiar faces. There's definitely a lot of crossover between The Wire and We Own the Streets. The detective you were talking about, that's Marlowe, who is the sort of a rival drug dealer. Who was the new kid that was sort of up and coming, and maybe was worse than Avon Barksdale, who was sort of the foil of season 1. But yeah, The Wire is great television. It's a little dated, but it still holds up entertainment. I mean, if you can get past the cars being 1990s and the dial-up sound every time The Wire goes up of like a fax machine, and how the phones look, and things like pagers being a thing. The rest of it holds up. But yeah, no, it's good television. But there's a sergeant from the Homicide Division. He's the commissioner in We Own the Streets. There's a bunch, but John Berenthal, I mean, if I didn't know who he was, I would say that man was born and raised in Baltimore.
He's actually from D.C., Washington, D.C., so it's, I guess, kind of close.
It might be close, but it may as well be, be hundreds of miles away. They are completely different towns. Right,
and, back to, Homicide: Life on the Streets, it's kind of like The Wire, where you got a who's who of actors. Andre Braugher, from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, a comedy show, got his start on, Homicide: Life on the Street. It was actually the first black lead on a television show to win Best Actor on a television series. So he was on there. A few other actors are on there, so it's good television. And again, John Bernthal does a great job as the lead. And We Own This City. I mean, the whole show just is really more so revolved around him, because I like what they do whenever they're going back, through different points in time, because it's not really talking about, I guess, current times. Yes and no, because it'll go back from like 2003, 2007, 2019, 2017, and just talk about different times in his character's life. And he's not a very good person. He's not a very good cop.
He thinks he is. He
that's the scary part. That's the scary part, is that he clearly is doing bad things. He's clearly finding young black men on the street and harassing them. But what he thinks he's doing, he's fixing up Baltimore. Even though there's a scene where there's two guys that are just literally sitting on their stoop, and he just tells them go back inside, and then he circles around and takes one guy down and starts punching him right in the face. And his sergeant doesn't do shit about it. Like he tries to scare him into saying, I'm going to fire you, but then says, "No, I'm just fucking with you. Just redo this report." And I'm just like,
the sergeant teaches him how to write a report.
Yeah, he tells him, put in the report that the guy tried to hit you, or the guy tried to cut you or something. I'm just like,
I mean, LBS have scenes that are like stand-ins for thousands of conversations that occur, across generations of, police officers in the city. But yeah, I mean, it's they did it. You described it exactly right. They were trying to scare him straight, but it was just a practical joke. They're like, you're not in trouble. You kidding? With all the guns you take off the streets and all the arrests you make? No. But your report, this sucks. You always start with that you were in reasonable fear. You always have to say that they swung first, and they always have to start with the officer was in reasonable fear for his safety. Lead with that. Redo this shit.
Again, good show, but it's not for everybody. And I'm just now realizing I think I might have missed the newest episode.
I think it is for everybody, but it very much feels like a docu-series, and to an extent, it sort of is.
Right.
Yeah, if you do like it, then you'll love The Wire, because it feels real, but it's definitely a drama, and there's stuff like sex and violence and interweaving characters, and again, a lot of actors that have you see a lot now. The guy who plays Lester Freeman, he's been in a lot of things. Treme was in Defy Bloods. He's currently in The Man Who Fell to Earth. Wendell Pierce was Bunk Morehouse. Omar, he just died. He just overdosed. Just have legendary characters. I mean, Idris Elba was Stringer Bell in one of the great deaths on TV. And don't tell me it's a spoiler, because it occurred 15 years ago.
Right. It's a spoiler for me, Jeff. God damn it! I'll blame.
Right. They just sort of copied. They almost sort of copied it in Ozark. I don't know. You had just the whole thing. The whole thing was great, and like nothing. None of the bad guys look like they're so tough for anything. It's just everybody looks like a real person.
Right, and I think that's what really adds to it. Is like you said, it's like what you're watching a documentary, because nobody looks like they're overly tough. There's no pretty people on this show. It's just it adds a grit to it, and I think that's what makes it so good. Is the best stuff is when it looks like it's real. And
like Chicago PD, they're all like supermodels.
Yeah, right. Let's go. Oh yeah, the sexy Jeff Lippman. Let's go
Sexiest.
back. Let's kind of rewind back to you going to the movie. So, do you want to talk about Doctor Strange now, or do you want to save it for our show?
I don't know. We should probably save it for that show, because that's sort of what we do there.
All right, we'll save it for our Patreon show.
I'll give a bit of a spoiler. I liked it, but I didn't love it. You
know what? And I won't spoil it for too many people, but that's kind of the consensus, where I liked it. I really liked it, but then again, I'm a shill for Marvel, but I liked it, but the plot was kind of weak.
There wasn't really a plot. It felt a little bit like, I don't know. It's like the main character, goes, such and such where, it doesn't really matter. And of course, there's a giant, tumult, 3 blocks away, and then we're just sort of dropped into the middle of a story, which is a lot like how comic books were. But it turns out it wasn't exactly accidental. But if you love comic book movies and you love the MCU, you'll see this movie and I think that you will like it. Maybe you'll convince yourself that you love it. But aside from a few teasers and well-placed Easter eggs in there, which, I suppose are spoilers, and it's only week 2.5, so even I think that's too soon to say things, at least not on the Patreon, or at least without spoiler warning. But, I don't think you needed to see this movie to be part of the MCU. So if you sort of like superhero movies, you sort of like the MCU, but you don't feel like seeing every movie, this is one that can be skipped.
That's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah, well, I'm a bold guy. I'm like barbecue sauce.
JR's barbecue sauce.
Yeah, speaking of barbecue sauce, it ruins DNA test. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. We learned this week on Raw. Oh, thank you. Shush.
Thank you. And I see Ruben Prime is in the chat room. What's up, Ruben?
We have stars here. Oh my God, Maurice Bear is there. Is that the Kyle? Is that 6'7" Kyle that Kevin Castle's always talking about?
Lightning, it's certainly not Captain Marvel by any stretch, but I don't know. I like it, but I had my problems with it. But again, if you guys will donate $5 a month to the Patreon, you'll be able to hear me and Jeff's review. Anyways,
and it all goes to Drew. Drew has wrote people into his Patreon family for him. We work for work. I mean that's it. But I will disagree. I think that while Captain Marvel wasn't a great movie, first of all, I didn't think it was terrible. But I think you need to see that as part of the MCU plot line and to understand certain other things like the Skrulls,
right.
and why Nick Fury isn't always Nick Fury. I mean, I think that's important towards the overall storyline and sort of what got Nick Fury, got him from being interested in something into sort of obsessive about it. This movie, I mean, maybe later on I'll feel differently, but I just didn't think that there was anything particularly important. We already know about the multiverse from Spider-Man. I mean, again, except for some Easter eggs, which are probably largely spoiled anyway, and not all of them are things I want to see again. And some were sort of spoiled by Marvel's What If. I'm not sure there's anything in this movie that is essential to things going forward.
I think it is. I think it is and it isn't. I mean, because... All right, here's one thing I'll say before we get into the news. So, again, I love Marvel. You love Marvel. I mean, I'm a Marvel shill. This current phase of movies, it doesn't really seem like it really knows or gives you the impression where it's heading. Like, in that first phase of movies, with Iron Man, you got the, I'm Nick Fury. I'd like to tell you about the Avengers Initiative or Thor's Hammer. You knew where they were heading. Even after the Avengers movie, you saw Thanos and you went, oh shit, we're getting Infinity War, we're getting Infinity Gauntlet, whatever the hell they're gonna do. This current phase of movies, each post-credit scene you watch and you're like, okay, what are they doing? Like, like with Shang-Chi, there is that scene where, Shang-Chi's talking to Bruce Banner and Captain Marvel, and I guess they're about to give away what the 10 rings mean, and then Captain Marvel has to leave, and you're just like, okay, what is this leading to?
Right. And also at the end of Shang-Chi, Wong grabs Shang-Chi, and where is he? Why isn't he in this movie? Why isn't he helping out? What's he so busy with? We don't know. Yeah, you're right. Even with the Avengers, even if you didn't know exactly where the story was going, you knew it was building towards the Avengers being formed. You knew that the Iron Man movies and the Captain America movies and the Thor, you knew you were going to get these solo movies, but eventually you were building towards a team. We don't really know what we're building towards yet, except for some other, cosmic villain or villains or whatever it is. But you know, I don't know. I'm sure there's stuff that was important that will come out later, but I don't know. Good storytelling in the future movies should, you know, make that should make it so that the important parts are retold and not left out. But we'll see. I mean, I don't know. The thing I don't like about the multiverse is that you can always bring like characters back if you want to.
Right.
I'm sure some people like that, but when death, you know, sort of is off the table, it loses a little something. Like, you know, oh, this one died. Well, they can always just bring back their mirror from, you know, one of the numerous other multiverses.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of... And Lightning says, you know, multiverses sounds like lazy writing. I would say yes and no. And Lightning also put, you know, they're following up from Endgame. It should have ended it right there. I disagree because I've been saying this for a while, that this current phase of movies, they're not going to top, you know, that first round of movies, because, you know, it's like, here's the best way to put it. It's like the first NXT. It's like NXT, that golden age with Finn Balor and Kevin Owens and Bayley and Sasha Banks, which we'll be talking about soon. And then, you know, of course, like Adam Cole and, you know, Cross and people like that. Like, that was the MCU that we liked. Like, that was the good MCU. Not to say that it's bad now, but that was a much better MCU because they had a clear idea of what they were trying to do. Whereas this current MCU is kind of like NXT 2.0, where you have a bunch of new people that you're not too familiar with, and there's really no clear idea of what they're trying to do. And so you're like, I'm still enjoying this. This is actually not terrible, but it's like, in some ways, it almost seems like they're trying to force the issue. You know what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah, I do. I think I do. But, you know, also sort of like with Eternals, you know, I wasn't familiar with the subject material. I wasn't familiar with the comics. I don't remember the Eternals. And so things needed to be better defined. And that movie, you know, that movie had a lot of flaws, but one of them is I didn't know what their powers were or the limits of their powers. I mean, you only vaguely knew what they were. And I felt sort of the same way with America Chavez. I don't know who she is, so I exited comics before she was a thing. So I don't know what her powers were, but then, you know, okay, so I got it. She was sort of unique in the multiverse, that she could travel, you know, through the multiverse. But it also seemed like because of that, she had some sort of super strength or whatever, and that came from nowhere. And I would like to know generally what is somebody's powers. You don't have to, like, give me a list like it's RoboCop and it's like, you know, on the right side of the screen, but like that shouldn't just come out of the blue. You got a teenage girl that's really running from everyone, and you think that at some point, you know, before traveling through multiverses, she would have punched somebody into smithereens. And, you know, she didn't know she had super strength, but she knew she could travel through multiverses. So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to spoil too much, but, you know, maybe others like me would benefit from knowing who America Chavez is or was in the comic books. Again,
I have no idea who that is. I mean, okay. Let me rephrase that. I know who America Chavez is. I've heard the name, definitely. I just haven't read her comics. I mean, I just know basically she's a gay Latina superhero, and that's really the gist of it. I've really never read her comics before, so watching that movie, I was just seeing her character for the first time, or like an iteration of her character. So, I mean, I liked her. I mean, I like the dynamic with her and Benedict. I mean, because Benedict, you don't have to worry about him stinging out the joint. He's a good actor. I mean, Elizabeth's a good actress. This girl, for the life of me, I can't say her name right, but I thought she did a good job. I thought she was charming. I thought she was likable, and she had good chemistry with everybody in the movie. So, but again, we're gonna save all that for our show, guys. So, also, I got good news. RJ said he might be making a appearance.
Wow. This is so you sort of teased everyone with the disappointment. Now you're going to lift them up, but it's only a maybe. So you're like Vince McMahon tonight.
God damn it!
You're booking on the fly.
I can't keep Sasha, but I can get RJ. Yeah. No, he text me.
Sasha. Imagine if you had Sasha, the 7 people here. Wow, what a treat.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, RJ just said, but actually, let me come on in a bit. So he'll be on in a bit, guys. So, all right. So let's talk about Raw for a bit. Let's talk about the big news that came out of Raw. So, the original main event of Raw this past week was supposed to be a 6-pack challenge to see who would face Bianca Belair for the Women's Championship, the Raw Women's Championship at Hell in a Cell. It was going to consist of the Women's Tag Team Champions Sasha Banks and Naomi, Nikki Ash, Doudrop, Becky Lynch, and Asuka. That was not the case. And I have it right here, the statement that WWE released, where they put, when Sasha Banks and Naomi arrived at the arena this afternoon, they were informed of their participation in the main event of tonight's Monday Night Raw. During the broadcast, they walked into WWE Head of Talent Relations John Laurinaitis' office with their suitcases in hand, placed their tag team championship belts on his desk, and walked out. They claimed they weren't respected enough as tag team champions. I see RJ. Let me just get him in real quick. Yo, RJ.
Yo.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Not much. What's going on? What's going on, chat?
Yeah, I got Jeff here, brother.
Jeff, my guy, what's going on?
What's going on, little savage?
Nothing much, man. Just a long day of sleep. Nothing
wrong with that.
So I'll restart the message that WWE put out about Sasha and Naomi, but you said you wanted to get something off your chest. The floor is yours.
Oh no, right on cue then, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, roll with it.
Oh, so you want me to? Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Keep on going.
Okay. All right. Let me just restart it. So, when Sasha Banks and Naomi arrived at the arena this afternoon, they were informed of their participation in the main event of tonight's Monday Night Raw. During the broadcast, they walked into WWE Head of Talent Relations John Laurinaitis' office with their suitcases in hand, placed their tag team championship belts on his desk, and walked out. They claimed they weren't respected enough as tag team champions, and even though they had 8 hours to rehearse and construct their match, they claimed they were uncomfortable in the ring with 2 of their opponents, even though they'd had matches with those individuals in the past with no consequence. Monday Night Raw is a scripted live TV show whose characters are expected to perform the requirements of their contract. We regret we were unable to deliver as advertised in tonight's main event. Before any of us get into this, let me bring up what a quote-unquote source who is close to both Sasha and Naomi had put on Twitter. This is from Adidas _Geed, Gead 88, put on their Twitter thread. End quote. You are approached in February as being put in a tag team after both being promised big feuds at WrestleMania. You bite the bullet and put everything you got into being a tag team. It works. You get over, win the titles of Mania, and become merch pushers. 5 weeks into your reign, you show up to live TV and ready to work. You are told you will be in the main event, and you are happy. You both are then told let me try to rephrase this. You both are then told that one of you will be going over from pinning the other. You have questions why that decision was made and how it helps y'all. You request a meeting with your boss to discuss it. Your boss takes the meeting, and everything is actually going well. He understands your concerns, the meeting ends well, and the match is told to be reconstructed. For some reason, producers get mad about it. You then ask, with one of your members going over, what happens to your titles. You're told basically that you will just be carrying the belts. They want to use you both to help both women's champions get more over. Bianca versus Naomi, Sasha versus Ronda. Neither one of you will win the solo titles, and you won't defend your tag titles until Money in the Bank. You ask for another meeting with your boss, but this time you're being called spoiled. A producer walks away screaming. He comes back and tells you both to fix your attitudes. Y'all have a brief meeting amongst yourselves and decide to stand up for yourselves. You go to another boss and makes it very clear you just have concerns. You ask why are we even in the match and why aren't other women in it? You ask why your titles have no stories for 2 months. Again, you are met with fix your attitudes. So after one final meeting with yourselves and asking others, you make the ultimate decision as a team. It's sad how one side is trying to create a fucked up narrative. Also, it was asked why were Nikki, Ash, and Doudrop in the match instead of starting their program tonight. Naomi nor Sasha talked down about being in the ring with either one. I don't know how that one got flipped. End quote. RJ, the floor is yours, my friend.
Oh boy. I mean, first and foremost, do we know whether this is a work or not?
I mean,
WWE doesn't really report on stuff like this.
Well, they did with Austin whenever he, quote unquote, took his ball and went home back in 2002. So I mean,
I think that you should just approach it whether you think it's a work or whether you think it's a shoot. I guess we don't know. Nobody knows for sure. I know what I think. I'm sure Drew knows what he thinks. I don't know what he thinks. He doesn't know what I think, and I don't know what you think. So, I mean, just you should take it from how you approach it. If you think it's a work,
underneath normal circumstances surrounding Sasha, given her attitude and her reputation, I would say that this is legitimate. But the fact that Naomi, who has ties to the bloodline and all this other stuff, is involved now in this, that's the wild card for me, So that's the balance. That's the deciding factor when it comes to whether this is a work or a shoot. It's just like fuck. But if it's a shoot, I think it might be time to let Sasha go. I think it might be time to let her go. Naomi, like I said, she's the wild card and all this, but she's a grown woman too, and you gotta think for yourself, man. You really gotta think for yourself. And who knows where all this would have led? Like, the supposed finish was supposed to have been Naomi pinning Sasha. Maybe that could have been a seed planted for Naomi to turn on Sasha in the future and fucking join the bloodline. Did any of them think about that? Like, this is... Come on, man. And them, as far as them being disrespected as tag champs, when they had more wins than the Usos had all year long in matches, that's the last thing I want to hear about is disrespect. And you can go look it up. The Usos have lost a lot of matches. Whereas his wife, Sasha Banks, have won a lot of matches since being as a tag team. In fact, the women's tag team champions have been looking stronger than the Usos. I won't say RK Bro because RK Bro wins a lot of the matches, but the Usos have been booked to look weak. But I mean, people overlook that, of course, right? Then Sasha and Naomi. So it's just like, come on, man. Like, what more do you want? They've been winning every match since being a team, just about, and they've won every match since winning the tag team titles. What more do you want? WWE has to have time to build, and this is WWE's fault too. Look, they're not safe in this at all. They're not no babes in the woods when it comes to the situation. WWE has treated that tag team division, the women's, like shit. Like, they have all these teams, slap these girls together, they do nothing with it, and then break them all up. So it's just, or they'll recycle one chick out and put another one in. Case in point, Nikki just had a tag team with Rhea Ripley a couple months ago. Break that up. They give Rhea Liv, new team. Then now they give a Doudrop to Nikki. Come on, man. It's just, that's weak. That's weak stuff, but don't you think they need some time to build up a new tag team so that you can have a proper program for the damn belts? Like, come on, like, what more? And then, in the meantime, you get to wrestle in the main event of I guess 2 pay-per-views with Bianca and Ronda. Those are big matches. And of course you're not going to win. Like, come on, but it helps if maybe the story was told later on down the line that, hey, the women's tag team champions both gave the women's champions a run for their money at Money in the Bank. I mean, to help give those belts a little bit more of a higher stake.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else who go in these belts, maybe they can give the women's champion a run for the money. You know what I'm saying? Like little gems like that can help get the belts over in its own right. Did they ever stop to think about that?
So,
what more does Sasha really want at this point? Like, that's pretty much what I'm trying to say. What more does this woman want?
Well,
look, I'm a Sasha Banks fan. Don't get it twisted, but I'm not one of these crazy guys that's blind by the pussy, and blind by the beauty to not go, wait a minute here. Like, what more do you want? They're allowing you to film your TV shows. God forbid you get hurt a lot. Let's not forget that fact either. Like, what more do you want? Maybe somebody like a Naomi who gets a bone here and there, then maybe I can understand her maybe complaining or something like that. But Sasha, come on, man. What more do you want? Multiple titles, multiple tag team titles. You get to do the freaking Mandalorian. I'm not into that stuff, so I mean, I'll chalk that up to you guys and you guys' experience with that. But like, what more do you want? You go on ESPN, you do all these interviews, you're showcased, on some of these red carpets and whatnot. Like, what more do you want? What more do you want?
So
I don't know.
So a lot of this sounds like, because all right. So I've been reading the tweets. I've been listening to everyone's show, like Mish and Kevin had a show, and been kind of gauging everyone's thoughts, and I'm kind of 50-50 on this, and I'll explain why. So,
right.
This based off of what you said, it kind of sounds like it's a Sasha problem. Like, because definitely WWE's no saint. We're just not going to let them go willy nilly, because it's like what we talked about with NXT. The failure of NXT, goes all around. It's not just Triple H or Vince McMahon. It's all around. So with this really sounds like a Sasha problem. Because it's been well documented. Sasha has an attitude. Sasha hates her fans, and she hates her fans. Let's just be real. She hates her fans. She doesn't like meeting fans in public.
And what are you doing?
And Mish played audio of an interview from Shane Douglas talking about Sasha Banks, where he basically just said, shut the fuck up and just do your job. Like, you're there for a reason. You're getting paid. Like, if you really don't like people approaching you in the airport or at restaurants or at the store, then you're in the wrong business. Like, go to Vince and say, appreciate the opportunity, but I gotta leave. And I don't like Shane Douglas. I'm not a Shane Douglas fan at all.
Me neither. I always thought he was a goofball. That outfit he used to wear, good lord.
But he's right. I mean,
he's right.
Like, and I'm not going to be the kind of guy who goes, I pay your salary. But
exactly
to be honest, I do. like
roundabout way, yeah.
Like, we buy your merch. We fucking stan you, quote unquote, on Twitter. We're simping you. I'm using words that I never used before, but there's a reason why.
All right.
I just want to know how many Sasha Banks shirts you rock.
Anyways, so I'm getting to the point, but
we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that.
He's got legit boss rings on both hands.
I do. Good Lord. I do. I break them out for special occasions, like sex.
Yeah, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Maybe.
So, Drew, when you was a little girl, did you dream about wrestling Sasha in the main event at WrestleMania 55?
I always tell Betty, ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to wrestle Eddie Guerrero and Sasha Banks, and her first answer is, "Little girl."
What am I getting myself into here?
Like, why do I let you stick your penis in me? Jesus Christ. I'm getting too personal. Anyways, back to the topic at hand. So, I do agree with you, RJ, when you said maybe it's time to cut ties with Sasha, because there's rumored to be another bus flip pretty soon. I mean, because there's already an NXT bus flip from last month. There's going to be a main roster one, and WWE. I wouldn't be surprised if they kept Naomi, just for the sole fact that she's in that family with the bloodline and Roman, and they just peace out Sasha. Like, you know what? We're not dealing with this shit anymore. Like, gone are the days where, like with Shawn Michaels, where it's just like, this guy's a fucking asshole, but he can still work. He's a good worker. Now it's just like, you know what? You're a fucking asshole. I'm not going to deal with you. Bye. So I think this sounds like a Sasha problem. And I think, because Cameron, one of the Funkadactyls.
Yeah, I read an interview.
Had had put it out there that she thinks Sasha manipulated Naomi into walking out, because the one thing you've always heard about Naomi is that she's a sweetie pie. Like, she doesn't...
And that could be to your detriment sometimes. You gotta have just a little bit of balls. You got to stand up a little bit. But not to the point where your reputation becomes, oh, she's difficult to work with and stuff like that, Right, I'm pretty sure she's not a pushover. That's what I mean. She's not a pushover, right, but she's not difficult. So, I don't think Naomi's going to get in trouble because they love her up there and she's related to the bloodline. Sasha, I think, is gone. Shawn Michaels is a good comparison for Sasha. I don't know.
I think. Yeah. I mean, minus.
You know what?
Minus the drugs.
Sasha is breaking out the strap on to stick inside her husband's ass. So yeah, you're on point with that.
Jesus Christ. Anywho, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I think Sasha's gone. I wouldn't be surprised if she's gone. Like, I can respect her giving a fuck about her character and how she's looked in the ring. But it's just like, yeah, you brought up a good point where it's just like, you're going to be wrestling Ronda Rousey at a pay-per-view.
She's acting like she's being left off a show. She's acting like she's getting beat left, right, and center by Zelina Vega or fucking goddamn, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's acting like she's being demoted to NXT 2.0 to lose to, I don't know, fucking Thea Hale and fucking, what's another girl down there? Lee, whatever the fuck. I mean, come on. She's acting like she's losing to one of those randos down there. Like, you're wrestling Ronda Rousey, or you're going to be wrestling Ronda Rousey. What's the harm in that? Come on, like, seriously?
And it's just like, I take an issue with people just walking out on their job. Like, you signed a contract, do your job. Like, I'm tired of this whole, it's an art. It's my art. I'm like, dude, okay, yeah, say that whenever you're performing in front of a fucking bingo hall in front of 10 people and call that your fucking art. All right, I'm going to be that guy tonight. I'm going to be that dick tonight. So send out your angry letters to me. But it's just like...
But even in the real performing arts, even in the ballet or in movies or in TV or on Broadway, there's a director. There's a screenwriter, there's a teleplay, there's producers, there's people who tell you what to do, and if you don't do it, they use the understudy. So it's not like it's my art, I get to do whatever. Yeah, your art is to be part of an ensemble TV cast. Listen, I more or less agree with everything that you all said, and I think I make a 3 for 3 that this is real. This is not a work. They're not that clever. Maybe somebody will make a play on it yet, but the thing with Ali is real. What's going on with MGF is real. What was going on with Cody is real. This stuff is real, and it plays out in social media. And everyone's so into conspiracy theories, and wrestling fans especially think everything's a work. WWE ain't that clever. This is another. So let me cede a couple points, and I think you guys made them.
Right.
I cede the point that the women's tag team division has not been good. I see the bigger point that the tag team divisions haven't been particularly good across all of the brands and all of the divisions, including the NXT. They don't respect tag teams. They're like worse than Impact was when they had 4 tag teams in the whole division vying for it. It's between 2 TV shows and NXT. Just between 2 main roster TV shows, there's only about 5 or 6 tag teams that you could point to, and we're talking about the Dirty Dogs, who we haven't seen, and the Mysterios, who nobody cares about in those. In addition to mashups. Maybe they just created AJ and Finn, and if you want to call Edge and Priest a tag team, fine. You got mashups, but the Viking Raiders they send down to NXT, fine. But the women's tag team belts have been booked generally bad, and they let go of half of the tag team wrestlers so that the teams disappear or they break them up when they do brand splits. I grant all of that, but that did not start with Sasha and Naomi. That this has been the whole time around. The only time the women's tag team belts felt important is when Sasha was one of them with Bayley. On top of that, they've only been a tag team for what, 2 months? A month before WrestleMania, now a month or so after WrestleMania. So it's not like they're like the Road Warriors where they have a reputation of being a finely tuned team. On their side, I will agree. This is stupid booking. It does nothing for their team to have one of them pin the other and for them to lose in main events. They've got plenty of women on the roster that can lose in main events. This story would make much more sense 6 or 7 months down the line, once they were considered more of a finely honed team, and then one had to beat the other to get a chance. But it sounds like even with one beating the other, they both got chances. So I agree. It's stupid booking. But WWE's been doing mostly stupid booking for years now. So this is nothing new. It's wrestling stories. It's dumb wrestling stories. But there's nothing particularly or even uniquely offensive about this. And like RJ said, of course they're going to lose because they're the tag team champions. They don't lose anything by losing those belts. And yeah, Ronda needs a little practice. And I think Bianca is over, but it doesn't hurt for her to have her win under belt. And Naomi's not really a solo star, so why not? You get your main event, and then that's it. But you don't drop into the void of nothingness. You're still a tag team champion. So I don't know if Naomi got dragged into a knot. I think everyone is happy enough to blame Sasha. I'm one of those as well. But Naomi's a grown ass woman. She's got the security of being married into a powerful family. I don't think they release either of them. I think that before this week is out, maybe it's already happened, Naomi's gone in there and has groveled and apologized. Especially since what that company, stood by her husband during. Sasha, on the other hand, I wouldn't release her. I'd hold her hostage. I would Ali her. I'd keep her on that. And you know what? At some point, she's going to realize if she's not under the WWE banner, she's not getting gigs like The Mandalorian because ain't nobody going to know who she is. She's not that great an actress. It's sort of a bit character that doesn't say a whole lot. But if I'm WWE, I'm keeping her on that. I'm sending her the red carpet. What I'm not doing is to put her on that TV. So whatever glory she gets, they still get indirectly. But she's not in the ring. I'm going to hold her hostage and let her know just how good she's got it. I'll pay her. They've released 9,000 people. They can pay her. So I'm holding her hostage until she caves like Ali did, or until the end of her contract. And if she's no longer under a WWE banner, I doubt that her bit part in The Mandalorian is going to be leveraged into a sustained acting career, especially with a company like Disney or whatever that sees someone that's that difficult. DC or the competition is having this kind of difficulty with Amber Heard right now. You think the Kevin Feige is going to let have some sort of diva in there? Imagine Chris Pratt saying, Star-Lord looks really stupid, and he cost half the universe its lives, and he's portrayed as a temperamental kid. I don't like the fact that Thor is more handsome and then he's going to get beat up, or if one of the villains says, I don't like that my character isn't sympathetic enough, and I don't like the fact that the Avengers are going to beat me, and they storm off. You're not working it. This is not acceptable in any other form. The closest parallel we have that I remember is not wrestling. It's last football season. Antonio Brown. Where's he now?
Yeah.
Nowhere.
On the sidelines.
He's on the sideline. Exactly. He walked off in the middle, and it's been like, it's like if you're not happy immediately, my mental health, and I'm not trying to diminish mental health. I take prescriptions. But like everybody's using that as an excuse for it's an excuse for everything these days. And what it does is it lessens the effect of the reality, the impact. It desensitizes us all to people who have real problems, severe problems.
Exactly.
I mean, she's at the apex of the world. Obviously, her mental health isn't such an issue that it precluded her from getting there. She's also not getting any younger. So I don't know. I'm maybe I'm a corporate shill, but I'm Team WWE on this one, ceding all of the points that all the gripes that we're hearing of Sasha Naomi about the story. I agree. It's stupid ass stuff. Is it stupider than what's been going on with Alpha Academy, who, or anyone else for the matter? No, it's not. That company, their creative is terrible mostly. And even their best story is getting old. But this is babyish, just amateurish, and it is spoiled. And Naomi should be ashamed of herself if she got dragged into it. If she really feels that way and she feels like she's standing up for herself, I think she's misguided. And I think they both have. But Sasha does have a reputation. I mean, there was that story about the temper tantrum, which was disputed. Then she asked for a release. Instead, Vince gave her time off. And then she came back, and then she posts every day, "I love you, Vince McMahon," which, maybe she does. I mean, it seems like Sasha has some daddy issues with Vince. I'm not even joking when I say that. I mean, this is a bizarre relationship. But yeah, I'm on Team Corporate on this one, because nobody's good in this one. But one side has a contract and one side is paying you to do a job. You do the job.
Kind of reminds me of a story that Kevin Nash told about, working with creative, that they hate marks. Creative and, producers up there, they hate marks. It's like with Goldberg. When in Goldberg's first run in WWE, he took himself too seriously. And, what did Vince do? It's like, okay, I'm going to have you go out there and chain wrestle for 20, 25 minutes.
Oh, God.
It's like, and that went splendidly. So, I hate to throw around this word too much because it sounds kind of douchey, but Sasha's kind of a mark. She is a mark for herself. And, again, it's good to take yourself seriously. It's good to take your work seriously, but it's just like, just do the job. Do the job that you're being paid to do. I get it. It sucks. But don't just walk out on your fucking job because, like Jeff said, without that WWE machine behind her, would she have been in The Mandalorian? And also, yeah, she was a bit player on the show. And she's really not that good of an actress. Like, let's just be real. Like, if she tries to leave WWE, she's not going to show up on Marvel. She's not going to show up on DC. Yeah. She's not going to show up on... She's not going to show up on, Pretty Little Liars or whatever fucking show is on TV right now. Like,
yeah, she's not on the level of Alexa Bliss and Zelina Vega. At least I'll give those two the edge in that regard.
If anybody thinks that we're wrong, they just did the ad buys in front of all of the corporate buyers, all of the networks, and you know what? Universal, Comcast, and Fox did. They each had WWE quote unquote superstars there.
Jeff.
You know what AEW presented for Discovery Warner? Nothing. They didn't have anyone there. They barely mentioned the shows.
I was gonna say, look at Batista. He left WWE, and he admitted, it was probably a bad idea because he had to starve for 3 to 4 years. He had to borrow money from friends. He had to take loans to pay his rent, pay his car. I mean, it paid off for him because he was in Guardian.
He was one friendship away from being Ryback.
Ooh, that's again, that's pretty bold, but you're right.
He had a friend who cast him in a movie, and he did well, and it led to other movie parts, and that's why he's a star now. He was no bigger in wrestling than Ryback was, but he was one friend away from being Ryback, who, as far as I can tell, his entire career is just tweeting at Vince McMahon, and I guess he's got some supplement company that pays him some sort of living wage.
All right, but
feed me penicillin.
Feed me. Let me read to you my book about water and colors and letters.
Oh, good Lord. Oof. That's rough. But,
yeah, just... it's not going to surprise me if Sasha leaves. I mean, I know Jeff mentioned, if I'm WWE, I'm going to do everything I can to keep her, but at the same token, I'm going to basically keep
I said hold her hostage.
I was literally about to get there, Jeff.
Well,
I'm
literally, you're saying do everything you can to keep it. All you have to do is nothing.
Dude, I'm literally saying,
no,
keep her, but hold her hostage. But I think the difference between her and Sasha, I think the difference between Sasha and Ali is that Ali, I don't think, is a fucking asshole.
Ali just felt like he wasn't being used. I mean, his gripe compared to Sasha's is right. Like, but I mean, in the same breath, though, Ali wasn't over. He wasn't over,
right?
And still not over. He's still not over.
Present tense. Nobody cares about Ali. It's. I mean, nobody. All the people who think he's a star, they're more delusional than the people who think Wheeler Yuta is a star.
Oh my god!
Oh, good lord! I'd give Ali that. At least Ali's somewhat interesting. Wheeler Yuta, are you kidding me?
Speaking of Wheeler Yuta, he wasn't even on AEW tonight.
Well, he's in Japan. He's in the Super Junior tournament.
Yeah, good for him.
Well, I mean, it's part of their Forbidden Door collaboration. But yeah, I mean, listen, they either had to make it a 6-on-6 and find another person for Team Jericho. God forbid they decide that Sammy Guevara is a heel and bring him back for that. Or they needed to get rid of someone, and I think it was just luck that they already scheduled Wheeler Yuta for this, but so this is their blood and guts, or I think they're calling it Arena Anarchy or whatever it is, but it's going to be the 5-on-5 at Double or Nothing. The Jericho Appreciation Society versus the Regals group and the Kingston Trio.
RJ, did you watch Dynamite tonight?
Nope. Did not. But
all right,
I got caught up.
Yeah, you didn't.
My friends caught me up.
You didn't miss much. There was the Owen Hart tournament for some reason that we still don't know the point of the tournament. Let's see. Samoa Joe wrestled in a match, and there was a Joker in the tournament. It was Samoa Joe versus the Joker, and it ended up being John Morrison, who is now Johnny Elite.
Is he usually signed to AEW?
I have a feeling this is a one-night only thing.
Yeah, because it's weird because even TNT, they put up Johnny Gargano by mistake.
Oh, shit.
There was another Joker reveal. It was Britt Baker versus Maki Ito.
I was disappointed. I mean, at least Johnny's a good wrestler and everything like that.
That was a good match, Joe, against Johnny Elite. I mean, that to me was... I mean, that was good. I mean,
I liked
the
it.
shame was, you knew who was going to win, but listen, I've been wrong this entire time. I thought that and I might still ultimately be right about. There's like a cameraman who never moves, who's wearing a black ski mask the whole time, and he's clearly tall and muscular. And I just figured that was Cesaro the whole time, and that at some point he's going to take off the mask and interfere in something, and he still might because the other camera people don't wear ski masks and they move around. But that's who I thought the Joker was going to be, and I just figured that Joe would be cost the win from the guys who ran in afterwards. The air quote Ring of Honor guys, Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh. But I'm glad to see John Moore. I mean, Johnny Elite, whatever he wants to call himself, never should have been released. I mean, never. I mean, him and Miz are 100 times more entertaining together than Corbin and Moss ever were. So. Right. I was glad to see him get a job. I hope it, for his sake, I hope it's a long-term thing, but I have a feeling it's just one of those appearance deals.
Right. Another match, another tournament match, Kyle O'Reilly versus Phoenix. Kyle O'Reilly wins by submission. It was kind of a long match because I was flipping back and forth through that and also the Western Conference Finals. I go back, I'm like, this match is still happening. So...
Oh, it's Kyle O'Reilly and Phoenix. What do you expect?
All AEW matches, but I was a little surprised that there was no House of Black involvement, that Kyle O'Reilly basically went over clean, but it's not really, because as soon as I've been seeing this and what they were doing with Bobby Fish not making it, that Adam Cole was pissed off. I mean, I think the finals, and I predicted this weeks ago, it's going to be, and I've been doubting myself, but I think that I'm right, is going to be Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, once again, one more time, but to sow that sort of dissension among that part of the super elite, or whatever they call themselves, the undisputed elite.
Right, and also because like I was saying the same thing because I was looking at both brackets. I'm like, they're just making it very obvious that they want Adam Cole and Britt Baker to win, so they can be the winners of whatever this tournament's supposed to be. Like, has anybody heard what the whole point of this tournament's supposed to be? Like, what does anyone win? Do they win a title shot? Do they win like a plaque, or does Marsha Hart give them a hug, or what the fuck?
Drew,
no.
It's obvious. The only reason why this tournament exists, and I'm pretty sure you guys know this, you guys are not dumb, but the reason why this exists is because we got the rights to Owen Hart's name, and WWE doesn't. That's all this is all about. The winner ain't getting shit.
But they could make something up. I mean, I think what Drew's saying is, you could win a title shot. Then there's other stories. Or how about this?
Right.
The AEW will donate $100,000 to the Owen Hart Foundation in your name. I mean, even if it's just that.
Yeah.
And nothing. They don't even tell us what the Owen Hart Foundation does. And actually, Steve looked it up on Hammerlock Hangover last week. And what they do, I mean, I'm not saying what they do isn't good work. It is. But it's sort of a small potatoes kind of charity. It's a little bit all over the place. Like they have some scholarships for high school seniors that can be up to $9,000 for a handful of schools in Western Canada. Okay, that's nice. It's for the community, but it's not like they're curing cancer. And then they have like some programs in Peru. Listen, that's nice too. It's lovely, but it's not like they're like building roads or whatever. I think they're doing something like giving like knapsacks and they also have like some sort of like the scholarships are less. They're like I think up to $4,000, something like that. And then they have like a coaching class, like a finance class where if people spend a year and if they have to contribute at least $50 to $250 a month, meaning the student, the person who's the subject of the charity, and they're going to learn financial life skills, which I guess is fine and dandy, and it's sort of for savings. And so if you put in the maximum $250 a month, which is $3,000 a year, they'll match that 2-for-1. So if you complete the class successfully and maximize you can end up with $9,000 in savings instead of $3,000. That's nice, but they're saying like it's to get a down payment on a house. Where on God's green earth can you buy a house with a down payment of $9,000? I mean, maybe in
Baltimore.
Western Canada. Yeah, well, you could probably buy plenty of vacant houses from the city, but you're going to have to deal with the human rats inside that have been living there with their needles for the past 10 years.
Right, and it's just, Kyle, this is basically a big fuck you to WWE. Like RJ said, we have the rights to Owen Hart and you don't, so fuck you. And also, doesn't
a BJ from Tony Khan.
Oh God. Adam Cole, you are the winner of this of this Owen Hart tribute tournament. So I want you to just sit back and relax, and just close your eyes and pretend I'm Britt.
Well, listen. I'm going to give some rare credit to FTR, who I think are terrible on social media and babies. I'm not criticizing their wrestling. But they have a Sasha and Naomi gripe. I mean, they put them in singles matches. They always lose. The only singles matches that either one of them won that I can remember is Dax beating his own partner, Cash, to get into this tournament. So what does that do for the team? Zip and zero. And then Dax loses? I mean, the whole thing about them is that they love the Hart so much. I mean, this could have been like a nice story if it was set up to have Dax Harwood win. But instead they're being challenged by Roppongi Vice. We have to see Rocky Romero again and Trent Beretta. And why
he stinks.
Of course he stinks. This team stinks. Rocky Romero is like everywhere. He'll work for $3. But I mean, and why is Chuck Taylor okay with his partner constantly abandoning him for not a new girlfriend, for the old girlfriend?
Well, I mean, Chuck Taylor, he's one of those girls. He's one of those girls that knows his worth. He knows he can't compete with Rocky. I mean, have you seen that muffin top lately? Oh my God, it's expanded.
Fuck Taylor.
Eye patch is very sexy. I mean, pirate, woo, it's beautiful. But I'm just saying that is dumb booking, and but they didn't walk out.
No, they didn't.
But
and you know what? And I agree with you, Jeff. Like that would have been a nice little story for those guys to win that. But it's just, I think Tony Khan does not like FTR.
Well, I'll tell you why, RJ. He doesn't have. They don't have a sleek and slender form like Adam.
Cole,
very few people have sleek and slender forms like Adam Cole.
They don't have DSLs like Adam and Britt.
Oh man, only the special kind of people have the DSLs, if you know what I mean.
Baby.
I don't know what DSL means, so.
Before you come in my face, say baby.
I think I'm happy enough not knowing what boom you're about to lay down.
I'm gonna stop. God damn it. Kyle just said in the chat room. I love you, Kyle. And then the main event, of course, was Adam Cole versus Jeff Hardy to see who's gonna make it. Who's gonna make the finals. Adam Cole wins. Surprise, surprise. The match was
4 minutes.
It was 4 minutes. Goddamn.
I don't know if it was really 4 minutes, but the only match that was like under 15 minutes was Adam Cole and Jeff Hardy. After Jeff Hardy went to war last week for no reason.
Why did they have that match so soon after last week? Couldn't they give those guys a week off? Like, come on, man. Jeff Hardy just did all that stupid shit to himself last week, which I don't know how you guys feel about this, but Jeff Hardy shouldn't be doing any of those stunts and tricks anymore. It's not 1998. It's not the early 2000s. You have nothing left to prove, Jeff. Like, just go out there and have a fucking match and if Darby Allin wants to do that, fine. Let him do all that. But you don't have to put yourself through that shit anymore, man.
Well, that's fine. The Young Bucks said exactly that. But more importantly, when did the Young Bucks and Jake Hagar start shopping at the same clothing store? I mean, they're all wearing like Hawaiian pajamas.
You just imagine them passing each other up in the store. Jake, Bucks.
I'm telling you, they all went together. I think they went on one of those three-way bicycles.
And it's a Christian thing.
Wait, Jake Hagar is a Christian?
I don't know, but I thought it was funny when Jeff was like,
AF.
I thought it was funny when Jeff, said, don't give me any of that Christian AF bullshit.
Yeah, all of it, the whole thing. I mean, I actually didn't mind Dynamite so much tonight. I mean, it was better than some of the other shows I've watched this week, but some of it's just goofy. I mean, a lot of it's goofy. And that's wrestling. To me, this just supports why I support WWE and the Sasha and Naomi thing, because a lot of this shit is stupid. I mean, I know they tell us in AEW they have the choice to do it or not, but I don't know that. I don't know that that's a good thing either necessarily. Anyway, it's not about WWE versus AEW. This is just about that show. I will say this. I think that Swerve and Keith Lee look pretty good as a team against the Jobbers. And, I mean, how minor league does Jurassic Express look next to Hobbs and Starks and Swerve and Lee?
Yeah, those belts got to come off them real quick.
Christian's volunteering them for three ways, with a fatal 3 ways and Jungle Boy next week. And, yeah, obviously he hasn't consulted with Jungle Boy about it. I mean, we've been seeing this turn come a million miles away, but like, does anyone want to see a Christian versus Jungle Boy feud? Is anyone interested in that at all?
Jungle Boy had if he had strong microphone skills, then maybe. But
guys can raise your hands. The people in the chat, can't they raise their hands? Are any of you guys interested in this? I see Anna there. I see Dirk, Kyle, Lightning, Ruben, Maurice. I mean, any of you raise your hands. Are any of you interested in seeing this? I feel like Kevin Castle now. Anyone? You guys see this? You guys see that one? No, nobody's raising their hands. Nobody's interested in that.
Ruben said not interested. Morley's Chicken said not really. Kyle said hell no. Anna said or even if I was dead.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of what I expected. Listen, I understand that the wrestling suit feed generally is a little bit slanted. A little bit more cynical about AEW than maybe some other places are. Still, a good feud's a good feud. This is just, I mean, Jungle Boy interests me not. Christian never interested me, but this is nothing that anyone wants to see. And the ridiculous thing is that it should be for Jungle Boy to be put over, but with AEW and desperately needing ratings for this contract renewal that I think they're getting less and less secure about with everything going on with Discovery. I think they err on the side of the bigger star who's Christian. I mean, you got I mean, the only time a WWE guy loses is when it's to a former WWE guy, like Jeff Hardy losing to Adam Cole.
Baby. Speaking of contracts, we'll get off AEW for a bit, or not even for a bit. Just we're done with AEW for the night. XFL reaches multi-year agreement to air all games on ESPN and other networks owned by the Walt Disney Company. Starting next year, the XFL will have all of its regular season games and playoffs air on ESPN and other games owned by the Walt Disney Company, part of a multi-year agreement announced on Tuesday. Beginning
Drew,
what?
Isn't FX or FXX one of the, and aren't they owned by Fox?
Yeah, and Disney.
Disney owns that part of Fox. Is that part of the Fox division that was sold off to Disney?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's the FXX is a Disney product now, not a Fox product. So it's all Disney.
Well, Fox technically isn't really an entity anymore. Technically, like, because it's not 20th Century Fox. It's just called 20th Century Studios. But it's owned by Disney, but it's kind of its own thing in some aspects. But yeah,
I know that Fox sold some of its assets to Disney. I mean, it's all part of News Corp.
But beginning in February 2023 and continuing through the spring, 40 regular season XFL games, 2 playoff semifinals, and a title game will appear on ESPN, ABC, and FX. It was revealed at Disney's Upfront event. I mean, this is cool. I mean, good for XFL, good for The Rock, for making this happen.
Yes.
I mean, will I be watching? Maybe not. But you notice the pattern with XFL with Vince. He wasn't really marketing it that well, like, because he had it
Vince
under that NBC
football guy.
Yeah, no, like, I like football. I want football to be the hard-nosed, football that I grew up with as a child. Yeah. It's like, Vince, have you ever actually seen a football? Yeah. But
the thing is that The Rock only paid like $5 million for this company. So I mean, I'm sure he's already made his money back.
Right. So I mean, it's good for the XFL. They're going to be on a nationally watched channel, ESPN, owned by the biggest company in the world, Disney. So good for them.
And not against regular NFL, where the what was that AFL was partly overlapping with the NFL season, which was dumb.
Right. Let's get into ratings.
Right.
Let's get into ratings before we get. Were you gonna say something, RJ?
No. I'm willing to give the new rebrand of XFL a chance whenever it hits next year, just to see, support The Rock and see what they do. I'm interested.
All right. It's if nothing else, you just buy jerseys from the teams and you put them in a box so that you have collector's items. Either you have a first year jersey for a league that lasts, or it's a collector item. If it folds.
Right.
All right. He hate me. Let's get into ratings and then we'll get into questions. Monday Night Raw this past Monday drew 1.736 million, which is up from last week. SmackDown from last Friday drew. I have it right here.
What the lowest performing hour was?
What?
The Cody countdown. The 10 o'clock hour was 1.6.
I don't know. I like Cody. I know you hate Cody, but I like Cody.
I don't hate Cody. I think everything he does, he's been doing on WWTV has been 90% good to great. I just think that he shouldn't be allowed to talk off air because he's horrible. He's completely unlikable. But he's not a draw. He's not a star. Everyone's pretending like he is, and he's just not.
I don't know. I like Cody's stuff. I'm not trying to be fake or anything because I didn't like his AEW stuff. Which is weird because him in AEW, he was the only one whose like matches actually looked better. They actually look like wrestling matches. They actually look more serious. And I don't know. He was always meant for WWE, in my opinion. He had to go out and find that part of himself that belonged as a quote-unquote superstar in WWE. And he did. So, SmackDown from last week, Friday the 13th, drew 1.796 million. NXT from last night drew... actually, the ratings didn't come out yet. I think it
was 601. And you got SmackDown wrong. It was 1.998.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay, I'm not going to argue with that. All right. Now we are getting into questions. We have quite a few questions. This is my favorite part of the show. We will start with Maurice Bear. Maurice has 3 questions. The first one is, was there a movie so bad it made you walk out and not even finish?
Who do you want to answer, Drew?
Anyone can answer this. Doesn't matter.
Well, why don't you call on someone so they don't talk over each other?
RJ, you want to start?
Oh, God. I would say, this was 2008-ish? The Rock's movie, ironically, The Race to Witch Mountain or whatever the fuck. I couldn't finish that. I couldn't. It was so bad. I just had to leave. I couldn't finish it. It was that bad. That was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my whole entire life. And it's The Rock, for God's sakes. You think it would have made it a little bit more easier, but nah, it just didn't. I had to go. So, yeah, that's one movie I definitely walked out on. And I walked out on The Green Lantern, too. That was, 2011? Yeah, I never forget that. I was on a date, and I was just like, hey, I gotta go. This is bad. B-A-D, bad. And I'm a comic book fan, so that really hurt a whole lot. But, yeah, those are probably 2 movies that I definitely walked out
on. Jeff?
I've never walked out on a movie that I paid for. Maybe I'm just cheap, whatever it is, but I haven't. There's been plenty I've wanted to and thought about. Battlefield Earth comes to mind. There was Blue is the Warmest Colors. That definitely comes to mind. There were some others. I mean, Green Lantern was pretty damn tempting as well. But what's new for me is stopping movies I'm watching on cable or something like that and just never going back to them. And so I've got a bunch of those. But no, the answer is no.
I'm the same. I've never walked out on a movie because, A, if I think a movie's going to be ass, I'm just not going to watch it. And also, there have been movies that I thought were going to be good but weren't really that good. But, I'll still stay and watch them because I paid money. And also, like with Jeff, if I'm watching a movie on cable or on streaming and it's just really bad or just really boring, I'm just going to turn it off. I mean, I actually have fallen asleep during movies that I thought were boring as shit. Like, the last movie I fell asleep during was one of the James Bond movies, the one with Batista.
Spectre?
Yeah.
Skyfall.
Yeah, Skyfall, there you go. Like, no, I think it was Spectre. No, it was Spectre, dude.
It was Spectre.
Maybe it was Spectre. Yeah, it was one with an S, yeah.
So, I've never been a James Bond fan. I remember Betty was like, do you want to go see this movie with me? Because I know you're not a fan. I'm like, yeah, sure. She's like, are you sure? I'll buy you a ticket, but do you want to see this? I'm just like, yeah, sure. 40-something minutes in.
Okay. I once fell asleep in La Boheme in the Sydney Opera House. I mean, so if you want to talk about an uncultured, ugly American slap, now granted, there was a lot of jet lag was involved and all of that stuff, but this is La Boheme, probably the most famous opera of all time, probably in the most famous opera house, or at least like within the top 3, on the other side of the world, and I fell asleep.
Jesus Christ.
I fell asleep during the Eternals, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, well, at least you have to watch that at home.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Which piece of lost media you found interesting you want to see discovered? Let me repeat the question. All right. Which piece of lost media did you find interesting that you want to see discovered?
Rest of Page's sex tape with Brad Maddox and Woods. Oh, man. Nah, I'm just kidding. Never. See that shit.
I'm not sure I understand the question exactly, so I'm going to answer it assuming that I understand the question, and then maybe you can clear it up. But I would, like the rest of the apocryphal Gospels, like the rest of the Dead Sea Scrolls, like I'd be very interested in that coming out. Or if I want them to go more grandiose than that they find the Library of Alexandria.
Huh. I want to see the meeting that CM Punk had with Triple H and Vince, where
these answers, I'm like world changing things historic, and you want to see, and you guys are talking about like wrestling shit. I think that maybe I misunderstood the question.
I just want Vince to tell Punk, you ain't shit. Get the fuck out of my office. Bitch,
I want to find out if the other apostles wrote about the divinity of Jesus, and you want to find out if Vince and CM Punk had a thing. Okay.
I want to see the tape where Shawn Michaels apparently pissed on some prostitutes.
Okay. All right.
I love.
When X-Pac gets shit in Mark Henry's sandwich.
I love Jeff. Jeff is like, I want to see the battle of the Alamo, and then me, I want to see when Brock Lesnar put out his dick in front of Terry.
All right, well, let me get a little bit less, millennia ago, but still something. I would like to see the missing 2 minutes from the lunar landing when the camera went dead for 2 minutes.
I want to see what Batista's dick looks like.
No, but
Maurice, I hope we answered your question.
It's not about the dick; it's about the balls. Remember what Ken Kennedy said.
Oh man, me and RJ are such.
And Ken Kennedy's obviously doing everything wrong. So,
Jeff is the dad in this conversation.
Yeah, that's not a good thing either, people.
And he has to take care of his 2 idiot sons on the show.
I'm abandoning the 2 of you in the woods and stuffing your pockets with meat.
Next question. I'm not sure what this question is. Which was the wildest GTA rumor you believe that made you want to replay and find? I'm assuming you're talking about Grand Theft Auto, right? I've never played Grand Theft Auto. Never got into it.
I don't play video games because I'm a grown-up.
Ooh, you're a grown-up.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, I am late on the Grand Theft Auto train. The first time I've ever played a Grand Theft Auto game was like 5 years ago. So, yeah, I've never. Shockingly, for a black kid who grew up dirt poor, yeah, I've never played any of those games until I was an adult. So, yeah.
All right, here's another video game question from Lightning. Me and RJ will just answer this. If you played all the Batman Arkham games, how would you rank them from worst to best?
No.
From worst, I would say this might shock a lot of people. I would say the worst was Arkham Knight.
Ooh.
I was not a fan of. I liked Arkham Knight visually. What I didn't like was the whole fact that, spoilers, the game came out in 2015, that Jason Todd was the Arkham Knight and not Damian Wayne.
Right.
Like, I would have preferred if it was Damian Wayne. And also, I didn't like how they just completely misused Deathstroke. Like, they just brought in Deathstroke just for, like, a car battle. Like, not for, like, an actual battle, but, like, a car battle. Didn't really... Yeah, that just disappointed me. I still haven't finished that game to this day. Like,
they shit, and they shit on the Scarecrow and all those other guys too. So no, I get you.
Like, I finished the story mode. I just haven't finished that Riddler race. I just went, I'm good. Arkham Origins I thought was actually a lot better than what people gave credit for. Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, or Arkham City, I thought was the best one. So, what about you, RJ?
I agree with Drew's order. That's exactly personally how I feel about those games too. Yeah, Arkham Knight was just disappointing. I was hoping for somebody else to be in that role, and yeah, I just didn't like what we got. And yeah, I just thought Arkham Origins was good. It told a simple story, and Arkham City was great. I love that game so much, and Arkham Asylum was a fucking classic. So, you can't go wrong with that order at all.
Yeah, I want to answer this question, Drew.
Sure.
This might surprise you. I want to answer this one. I don't play video games because I'm a grown-up.
Whatever, Dad. Thank you, Lightning, for the question. Next is Anna Funky Gay Bananas. She asked, "Is almost the modern day Great Khali?" Actually, she has 2 questions. Is almost the modern day Great Khali, And what are your favorite DC films? Thanks. So, do y'all think Omos is the modern day Great Khali?
No, I don't. I don't think so. But the book is yet to be written. I think that Omos is going to have a longer career than the Great Khali will. My favorite DC movie? Wow, that's a hard one. Do I get to go like to 1989, like Jack Nicholson, Michael Keaton Batman?
Sure, of course.
Yeah, well, it would probably be that or Superman 2 then. If you're talking about in the modern era, probably the first Wonder Woman was like the only DC movie that I thought was good.
For me, The Dark Knight, hands down. The first Batman movie in '89 with Michael Keaton. Again, like Jeff, I liked Wonder Woman because I thought that was really well done. The recent Suicide Squad sequel I liked a lot. I thought that was really good. And those are really my choices. What about you, RJ?
So to answer her first question, I think Omos is. I think he's better than Khali ever was. I mean, the fact that he can move around is and doesn't need to go to NXT to take walking lessons. I think that's a blessing in its own right. So I think, well, like Jeff said, the book hasn't been completely written yet, but I got faith that Omos will. I think he would have a bigger career, barring any serious injury or anything stupid that he might potentially do outside of the business. Barring those things, I think he can have a lengthy career. I think he's better than Khali. And as far as like DC movies, the first two Batman movies with Michael Keaton, I thought those movies are great. They told nice messages and stuff like that. And I agree with you guys too about the Wonder Woman. And even the second one, a lot of people give that crap, but I like the message that they told in that movie as well. Even though the villains were shit, but like I like the message that they tried to tell. The Suicide Squad was great too, and they gave us great characters. Yes, Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman is sexy as hell. Dirt, like my god, oof.
I actually meant to say the Michelle Pfeiffer Batman movie, not the first one. But
I'm getting twitches and tingles thinking about it. But yeah, I love those movies. Like DC for me, like I'm more of a Marvel guy when it comes to the movies, but DC has some good movies. Like the first two Batmans definitely hit home for me, man. I love those. And anytime I go on HBO Max, I definitely put those on because I love them so much.
And Snyder Cut, love the Snyder Cut.
Oh yeah.
Oh, be quiet, Jeff. Thank you, Anna, and your funky gay bananas. Next is CM Hucking Goof. All right.
Uh-oh.
Be ready.
All
right. There's only 7 questions, but still, let's do this.
What's wrong with us?
First question. At what point are fans going to accept that a lot of pro wrestlers in business today are theater/drama club geeks in the absolute worst way possible?
They will not.
They will not.
It's their art.
Their art, and guess what? A lot of those fans live vicariously through some of these geeks too. So
it's funny. Part of the answer to Anna's question, while we were answering, I was actually thinking inside my head, in my inner voice, that most of the modern wrestling fans probably think that Matt Sydal is a better wrestler than Omos, and that's exactly that question. Those wrestling fans will never acknowledge that, even as wrestling is the only business stupid enough to put itself out of business due to absolute stupidity, and it will. No, they won't.
All right, next question regarding Cody Rhodes. On a scale of 1 to 10, how accurate of a description of Cody is the following statement? All of Dusty's ego with none of the charm and half of the talent. Oh boy. I mean, okay. I like Cody. I mean, I was too young to remember Dusty, so I mean, Jeff can maybe answer that question better, but I'm smart enough to say, Dusty was over. Dusty got over. He was a star. I mean, he main evented arenas. He sold out. I mean, he sold out arenas. He made money. He was the champ. Cody's good, but he is not his dad. He is not. He is nowhere near the star his dad was.
I don't think that statement is fair. So he asks on 1 to 10, how fair do I think it is? I think it's a 4. Just because I think they're totally different people. They're totally different styles. It's sort of like comparing Blackjack Mulligan to Lord Steven Regal. I mean, they're just different things.
Right, RJ.
Yeah, I put it at a 4 too. Cody and Dusty. Cody prided himself from being different than Dusty.
Right.
He never tried to rip his dad off in that kind of sense. And like he wanted to be a villain for the most part in his career, and he was a good villain. Whereas his dad, he had a few touches and goes as a villain, but Dusty was a big, lovable baby face who had charm, who had the skill, who had charisma. Who is this larger-than-life guy? Cody's not a larger-than-life guy. And, I think it's unfair to compare. Dusty had the jive talk, and he had rhythm in his promo, and his cadence and the way he carried himself. It was very relatable. Whereas Cody's not that relatable, and he doesn't have that jive talk. He talks with a little bit of a lisp, as my mother and a lot of Northerners say. But and to Anna's point, one thing I'll give the Rhodes family collectively, I give them credit on, is that they got over stupid gimmicks, i.e. the polka dots, Stardust, Gold Dust. They got those gimmicks over. So like the whole family in general they're very entertaining, but they're very different people at the same time as well.
I think that statement though fits perfectly for Rey and Dominic Mysterio.
Oh yeah,
right. I mean, also Randy Orton and his dad, Bob Orton. Bob Orton. Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, but was he really that over? I mean, yeah, he was in the main event for the first WrestleMania, but that's really about it. Orton has, Randy has surpassed his dad.
And there's not even a question.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're also completely different people. I mean, they're completely different style of wrestler. Everything about them is different. I mean, maybe not as different as Dusty and Cody, but almost.
The Rock and Rocky Johnson.
Well, yeah. I mean, I hate to say this, Rocky Johnson was one of my favorites growing up. Him and Tony Atlas were my favorite tag team until I realized that there was other wrestling and the Road Warrior existed. But I've already answered this question. 4.
All right, next question, number 3. Why does Tony Stark not get the amount of hate from real people as Bruce Wayne does? Also from real people for being a fictional billionaire. At least there's lots of evidence of Wayne using his money to help those less fortunate than him. And he also posted a Twitter link.
I wasn't aware that this was a thing, but I think the part is that Batman is a sociopath and Bruce Wayne is an introvert sociopath. I mean, they're not that terribly different, either of their public faces. Well, Tony Stark is sort of a gregarious, lovable. I mean, one of the best lines from Avengers was, what are you without that suit of armor? A genius, philanthropist, billionaire. You see him at lots of galas and doing things, and it's always opulent, but it's always been part of the MCU storyline that Stark was giving away money, and then, in his epiphany after his experience in Afghanistan, he supposedly got out of the weapons business, though we never find out exactly what it is that he's selling that keeps his resources limitless. But, I guess things like that are unimportant. We don't really know what Wayne sells either.
But, what does he sell? Fuck.
I mean, they're both arms dealers and intelligence and modern armaments and tech. So, they're both basically in the same business.
Military science.
Oh, no. Next question. Who's your pick to win the NBA Finals? Apology if I asked this before. I think I'm going to go with the Boston Celtics. I think they're on a roll. They've been playing really great I like Jason Tatum. The coach of the Celtics is a former Spur guy. He was an assistant coach for the Spurs under Greg Popovich. He was here for the 2014 championship. So I like him. He's a good dude. He has given the Boston Celtics like a defensive backbone. So yeah. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Boston. I want it to be Boston and Golden State. That'll be an interesting finals matchup. What about you, RJ?
I hate to say this, and you'll never ever really catch me saying this at all underneath usual circumstances, but I think the Miami Heat are going to take it. I hate the Heat, but
I like the Heat.
Can't be blinded. But.
The Heat kind of remind me of the 04 Pistons. Like, there's really no stars. I mean, Jimmy Butler is their star, but Jimmy Butler, I wouldn't really say is a superstar. He is just a star. Yeah. But I like Jimmy Butler. But I'm gonna go for the Celtics. Jeff, do you want to add to this?
Yeah, well, I gotta tell you, I mean, I'll admit that Charles Smith is a little bit soft, but as long as they keep Oakley and Mason rested, with Oakley, Mason, and Ewing there in the middle, I think that finally we have a team that can stop Jordan. So I think this is the Knicks year.
Oh man.
Well, Jeff, I'm afraid I got some bad news.
No! Charlie Ward's a much better basketball player than he was a football player. So, and Starks, Starks is the real deal. He gets disrespected. He's not in the conversation with Isaiah and Jordan and all those guys. But now, I don't fucking know who's going to win the basketball NBA. What is basketball? I thought basketball got canceled for AEW. What are you talking about?
Jesus Christ. So the Celtics, Jeff?
What? No, it's Celtics. I mean, how can you mispronounce your own team?
Well, it's been pronounced Celtics since like the beginning of the NBA.
Yeah, well, they're idiots. It's Celtics. It's the Celts. I mean, how does that happen? Do we allow it to be the Vikings just because if Minnesotans pronounce Vikings? No, it's wrong.
Celtics. Next question. Is the champs...
This is why America's stupid.
Jesus Christ, Jeff. Next, number 5. Is the champs Tequila the easiest song in history to sing and memorize when drunk or sober? Also, how have advertisers not used the song in a commercial for actual tequila? Seems like a no-brainer to me. What the fuck is that song? I never heard that song. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Tequila.
Isn't that... Yeah, that's the Hammerlock Hangover intro.
Oh, Steve's idea.
I like it. Like, every now and then I'll listen to it, and as soon as I hear the intro, I'll just go, Tequila! Yeah.
The only reason I can think that they don't use it is because it's Creative Commons, so anybody can use it. It's public domain, rather. So, like, anyone can use it, so if it worked, everyone could use it, and you would confuse your branding. And I think the people, when they brand, they like to have an identity that applies to them. But I don't know that your premise is correct. I don't know that nobody's used it. So I'm not sure, but that would be my guess, is that they couldn't really fully copyright. They couldn't really do a marketing campaign around something that anybody could use.
What about you, RJ?
I have no idea what the hell we're talking about.
All right.
I never heard the song before in my life.
You never heard
Pee Wee Herman sings it.
Dude, you've heard it. Come on.
Black boy. I was born in the north. I was raised down south. Dirt poor. I have no idea what the hell that is. And I've never seen a Pee Wee Herman show a day in my life.
Oh, come on.
But the movie, Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Well, you should. You should rectify that. But that would be my suspicion. It's all about the IP.
All right, next question. Is Shrek really love and life as the popular and dirty meme suggests? Okay. So, a while ago, and I don't know if they're still doing it. I guess they are, according to him, but there was like, not really a meme, but it was like a video where... I can't really explain like the animation, where I guess a guy is laying in bed and he's waiting for Shrek to come to bed, and he's saying, Shrek is love, Shrek is life. it's like it's a really disturbing video. So I'm not even gonna bother to ask Jeff what he thinks. I'm not gonna bother to ask RJ what he thinks, cause.
Good lord.
All right.
Okay.
Last question.
Delete.
I'm pretty sure I know what Jeff's answer is going to be to this. Your favorite Mortal Kombat character?
Sub-Zero.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that.
The big one with 92 arms.
Goro?
Sure.
Okay. I like Sub-Zero, I like Scorpion, Johnny Cage.
The one whose top falls off. The girl who hurt her boobs fall out. Which one is that?
I don't fucking know. What kind of Mortal Kombat are you watching?
Better one than you, apparently.
Are you watching Mortal? Are you watching Mortal Cockback?
I think maybe I'm watching Carnal Combat.
Mortal Cocker!
Ain't no combat.
Ain't no
Maybe.
combat.
Guess it's judging.
RJ, what about you?
Sub-Zero, Scorpion, Raiden, Kung Lao. Those are my favorites. AEW's Mortal Kombat. Oh, good lord.
Oh, God. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank God nobody's died yet.
Oh, they will. Thank you, CM Goof. Kyle. Kyle has the last question tonight. Kyle, where are you? I'm going to be Kevin Castle. Where are you, Kyle? He has a few questions, so let's do it.
Coaching games in Wisconsin, right?
Oh, yeah. First question. How big and how diverse was your high school when you attended? Well, I'm from San Antonio, so we're quite diverse. We mainly had a lot of Hispanic kids. We have some Asian kids, black kids, of course, and transgender, gays, LGBTQ. So yeah, we're San Antonio. We're quite diverse. We're diverse as fuck. What about you, RJ?
So I went to 2 high schools. So the first one I went to was obviously the one that I went to when I was in South Carolina still. It was diverse to a certain degree, but not as big as the second high school that I went to in Florida. And this school, it was diverse kind of on purpose. Like it was to seek out people from other countries, so they would offer families money to come to this specific school, and just go here. And it was a pretty cool high school. Like, so I got to meet people from the UK for the first time. I got to meet Welsh people, Australian people. So I got a chance to get some of those accents in at a little bit of an earlier age, and it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to yuck it up with some Canadians and stuff like that. So yeah, it was really cool. Meet some Indians, some not just Indians that run a gas station, but like real Indians who was deep into that culture and stuff like that. So it was really, really cool to have that experience. That's one of the good things I see about going to that school in Florida, that it definitely opened my eyes to a lot of different cultures and a lot of different just habits that other people have that are not American.
All right. Jeff.
Season 1 of The Sopranos, Anthony Jr. walks down into one of Tony's card games with his gang, Paulie Walnuts, Hirsch or Hesh, a bunch of the other guys, typical. And he goes, "Daddy, what is hell?" And Paulie goes, "Any place that is not Jews and Italians." That's pretty much my high school. So if you consider diversity to be Jews, Italians, Irish, and Germans, or some combination of those 4, then it was very diverse. If you consider that to be all different variations of white, then it was 96% not diverse at all. That said, I mean, we had some people of other descents. I mean, our not our valedictorian, but whatever the next was Susan Chi, who Chinese ethnicity. She's a world-renowned doctor now and terrific. But as far as African-American kids, we had 2.5. Well, Stacey Stanford, her dad was African-American, her mother was white and Jewish. There were a few Latin kids. That's about it. So I'm going to say it was not particularly diverse. But when you're that age and your lower schools were less diverse, then that felt diverse. But as far as real-world diversity, no, not so much. That didn't come until college and then more so in law school.
All right. Next question. Do you think the United States will ever see the vast majority of economically disadvantaged people get opportunities to truly better themselves through college and better jobs? Or will the middle class keep shrinking because the separation between the have and have-nots in this country sucks? I don't know if I'm well equipped to answer that question.
Same here.
I mean, I think that this is not this country problem. This is a world problem, and I will point out that 220 years ago, the poverty rate versus the non-poverty rate, yes, adjusted for inflation. 200 years ago, 90% of the world was in poverty, 10% wasn't. 220 years later, it's the reverse. 90% of people are not in poverty. In the world, adjusted for inflation, 10% are. So this is actually close to the best that it's ever been. As far as college being an opportunity, I don't really think that's the case anymore. I think most college is a waste for many people. I think people going to vocational and trade schools would be a better idea. We need CDL drivers. We need IT people. We need welders. We need that more than we need people with poli-sci majors, philosophy, English majors, or whatever. If you're going for math or engineering, or something like that, of course. But, a lot of these majors out there, college is not the ticket that was. Most colleges are shit. And I'm not so happy with my kid who's going to University of Central Florida. I'm like, why are you wasting that money? If you didn't get into a great school, I'd rather see you get a trade. Now, the wealth gap between rich and poor, it's terrible. It's getting worse. That is a real problem. But the issue is that we're going to become what Argentina was in 20 years. So this is not unique. But I'd like to know what the solution is, because everyone says tax the rich. Well, the top whatever it is, 1%, 10%, their entire wealth is $3.2 trillion. So if you seized 100% of their wealth, that's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. So there's a lot of false numbers thrown out there, and there's a lot of disinformation out there. But there needs to be a more equitable tax system. Tax loopholes are ridiculous. And I think that most people are looking at real problems, but there's only really one way to solve it, and that is to get private money out of federal and national campaigns, because then you will get a more representative government. You'll have a coalition government. It will be messy. It will get less done, if that's even possible. But that's the way you have more parties. That's the way you're not beholden to the extremes. That's the way primaries are not ruled by the fringes. And from that, you probably will get more fairness, better minimum wage laws, better time off, better work conditions, probably more fair taxation systems. Corporations can't pay zero in income tax when they make most of their money here. Things like that. But to be honest, I'm a little bit more worried with the seas rising over the seawalls and the levees and all of the coastal cities going away. And then you have to worry about, because there won't be any rich people anymore, because they all live, except for the ones that live in the mountains. They'll all lose their wealth when their condos are in the Atlantic and the Pacific. So there you go.
All right. Next question. Your favorite food to eat at a stadium or arena? Whoever wants to answer.
Italian sausage.
Yeah.
Grill works.
I'm just basic. Hot dog. Just hot dog. Maybe some pizza. That's about it. What about you, RJ?
Yeah. Yeah, hot dog or a pretzel. Something just simple. Don't try to get all crazy at a stadium or anywhere of that ilk. So, yeah.
Did you always have air conditioning where you lived?
Not when I went to summer camp, but everywhere else, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Growing up, the house that I grew up in South Carolina during my school years did not have air conditioning whatsoever. So those summers were rough, but now, yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure my freshman dorm did either.
I live in Texas, so you need AC, and I'm glad I've had AC pretty much my whole life, and yeah. Next question: your favorite sodas?
I don't drink a lot of soda, but when I do, plain old Coke. I think it's still. I love Coke. It's like I'm addicted to Coke, but Coca-Cola, not cocaine. But when I go to like those places where you make your own, like I'll usually either put like 1/3 Coke, 2/3 either like Dr. Pepper or like cherry Coke or some cherry, or 1/3 Coke, cherry vanilla Coke, or cherry Coke. So Dr. Brown's cream soda and Dr. Brown's black cherry they're pretty inspired too. But I'll just go Coca-Cola.
Dr. Pepper for me. I mean, I try not to drink. I try not to drink soda in general. But yeah, Dr. Pepper, and also Mountain Dew raspberry lemonade. That's kind of a new favorite for me.
I used to love cherry 7-Up, but I don't think it exists anymore.
I think it does. You might just have to like order it offline though.
Yeah, I'm not ordering it offline.
It still exists.
It's a lot of work for soda.
RJ
Everybody knows my favorite. It's not much of a secret that my favorite soda is Mountain Dew Voltage, and yeah, man, it's just I love it. I love it, and I try not to have that every day now, which I'm pretty sure helped to contribute to my weight loss. Because I used to down like 4 or 5 of those shits every day after work when I was still working at the cleaners. But now it's I have it on my days off, so I'm trying to be more disciplined when it comes to it. But it's a fucking great soda. Helps get me in the zone.
Yeah.
What zone? AutoZone?
AutoZone.
Get in the zone.
AutoZone.
Next question. Why do you think WWE makes it harder for fans in attendance at Raw, SmackDown, and pay-per-views by not displaying the TV feed on the Titantron? Especially if you have floor seats, it's a pain to look up the video board. I kind of agree because, like, especially if you're like sitting in the bleachers, like nosebleed seats, you can hardly see you can hardly see like what's really going on down the ground. So you have to fucking like snap your neck up to see what's going on the Titantron. And same thing if you're also like sitting close to the ring. I also think maybe it's kind of awkward because if you're watching on TV, you're seeing what's going on the screen, what's going on the ring. So I don't know, but I kind of agree. I kind of agree with Kyle on this one.
I mean, I don't know the answer to why. I mean, if it was the TV feed with commercials, I do understand that because then the TV commercials are competing with the advertisers in the arena. But I'm sure there's a way that you can have the TV feed, but stop it during the commercials and just put your whatever your programs are on or your vignettes or whatever. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, maybe because they do consider it a performance art to a certain degree, and so the performers expect that you're watching them perform, but I don't know. I don't know the difference. I have no idea the answer. I didn't even know that was a thing, but I mean, you'd have to pay me to go to a WWE house show. I'd go to a pay-per-view, but I wouldn't pay their prices for it. So I didn't know this was a thing.
RJ.
Yeah, I don't get why they don't make it more easier for fans that's just in the middle to enjoy the show in a better way, because you can't see the action itself, like directly looking into the ring. Like, I don't get why they don't put, because they're putting boards everywhere now. Like, they have LED boards on the side of the fucking barricade. Like, why don't you put, like, a little bit of a video board, like, somewhere in a crowd or something? I don't get why they don't do that. I think they should do it. It's a little bit more convenient if they did do something like that. But I don't know. I'm with Jeff. You can't pay me to go to a fucking WWE live show. Not anymore. Not a TV taping. I go to a house show. Because usually house shows are fun. I tell anybody in a heartbeat when people go, should I go to a TV tape or a house show? I'll be like, go to a house show. It's fun. It's quick. It's easy. Some of the wrestlers will do some shit that you won't see on TV or on a pay-per-view. I think it's more fun to go to a house show. But yeah, that's just me. But
yeah,
I just think that they have to do a better job of like really making sure that some of the fans who are in the middle of the sea, so to speak, can see the show.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat. Like, I'm at the point where I really don't want to go to a WWE Raw or a SmackDown anymore. I mean, if it's a pay-per-view, maybe. Because Raw is going to be coming here on July 11th. And, Betty was asking, all right, do you want to go to Raw or do you want to go to a Breaking Benjamin concert? And I just said straight up Breaking Benjamin. that sounds like it'll be a lot more enjoyable than Raw. Because the last event...
Benjamin.
Hey, I love Breaking Benjamin.
Breaking Benjamin's coming by. I think they're coming here soon, actually.
Yeah, they're going to be... I think they're going to be here, Austin, but either way, we're still going to go. The last time they came here was in 2017. But yeah, I don't know.
Show?
What was that?
Did you go to that show when you were like 30 years old?
Well, 2017 I was 28, but that was a fun show. I had fun. I haven't been to. That was actually the last concert I went to.
Yeah.
But yeah, Raw. I'm at the point where I'm just like, I'd rather. I really don't want to go to a Raw show.
No, why do you want to be there for 5 hours? Like, I mean, they tape a whole hour full of main event. Got the 3-hour fucking show, and then you got the dark main event after that too, or whatever shenanigans they have after that. So it's just like
same thing with
AEW. Be there for like 5 hours. Like, I'm not being there for 5 hours.
Same thing with AEW. Like, I have no interest in going to an AEW show ever again. Same shit.
You can go to an AEW show. First of all, their prices are much less, and I mean, whether you like it or not, the stuff that's on the TV show matters. I mean, I wouldn't, the taping of Dark and Elevation doesn't matter, and Rampage is hit or miss, but the Dynamites matter. I mean, things happen.
Yeah.
Last question of the night from Kyle. Do you think it's a lock that MJF will leave AEW for WWE when his contract expires?
Oof. That's a good one.
Whoever
Talking
wants
about Breaking Benjamins, nothing's a lock, but it's all about the money. It's going to be all about the money. I mean, if WWE is offering him $3 million, AEW is offering him $750,000, then he's going to WWE. If WWE offers him $3 million, and AEW offers him $2.5 million, he probably has to think about it.
Yeah, I'm with Jeff in that boat. Like, he's obviously a businessman. And he's a man about all about his chips, So I think whoever throws the biggest bag at him, he's going that way. I don't think it's a lock, but he's a guy that's treating this as a business, not a mark for himself. He wants to make sure he's secured financially. Sorry if other wrestlers don't feel that way, but people, this is what it is. This is a business, man. They do it because they love it, but they want to make sure they're good too. Sorry if people like Sasha and all these other people brainwash you into thinking this is about my art and nothing else. I'm Jonathan Gresham. I'm a small man. I can 20 different variations of a wrist lock and yeah. And Jordan Grace sticks a dildo up my ass, but it's all good.
But Jonathan Gresham, who's probably never made six figures in his entire career.
He never will either.
He probably also
not.
He probably
his
also
wife probably does for OnlyFans, so
he probably also won't be 6'2" in his life.
I'm not sure he's 5'2". I mean, he's 5'2" in every other. He's 5'2" in every direction.
Jesus Christ. I mean, I think MJF will go to WWE. I mean, it's just a foregone conclusion. I mean, me and RJ talked about this. He's tailor-made for WWE. He's what Vince wants. He's what Triple H wants. I mean, I mean, not that I don't know if this means anything. Him and Bruce Pritchard are BFFs, so maybe that will help his success in the company. And also, yeah,
and let's not forget, Bruce Pritchard was there in MLW when MJF was getting his push. When the Dynasty was on top and MJF was getting the push over there, Bruce Pritchard was the one directing all that. So that matters too. That counts.
Right, and also at the end of the day, it's money. It's all about the money. If Tony Khan is able to either match or offer him more than what WWE will offer him, he's going to go where the money is. But I think WWE is going to offer him the most money because they want him, and I think MJF wants to go there. So
yeah, the tough spot for MJF and for AEW is that what does MJF bring to them? I mean, whatever it is he brings to AEW, he already brings them. He's not going to bring anything new. Whereas he would bring things new to WWE. So taking him and bringing that new dynamic clearly means more to WWE. AEW, which is already over-leveraged on salaries and appearance fees and contracts and whatever, I mean, he's already built in. So, while losing him may hurt, does anyone think that the 800,000 or so sort of faithful AEW fans are going to stop watching AEW if MJF isn't there? I don't think so. Maybe some of the casuals, maybe they'll have Jericho or Kingston while they can still do it, get edgier. But, so unless there's a contract renewal and Tony can throw him CM Punk money, I think it's going to be WWE. I don't think it's going to be a bidding war. WWE tends to slot people. That's what we've learned from the Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, and Kevin Owens contracts. They have slots. There may be some negotiation with freedom and days off and things like that. Maybe some points on merch, but basically you're slotted. It's almost like the NFL. If they see you as mid to high card, you get between $3 and $5 million with the start at 3 and it escalates. AEW, I think, is more, willy-nilly.
Right.
Right. And plus, Tony Khan seems to have this obsession of having other people build stars, and then he brings them in. He likes well-established things, as we're starting to see a pattern here. But all what he's been bringing in lately, I'm surprised not an established woman was a Joker tonight. At least an established woman in the U.S.
Me too. All week I've been saying I thought it was going to be Athena or, and then when I saw Morrison, I thought maybe it'd be Taya.
Yeah.
People were saying Maki Ito. I'm like, why? But okay, whatever. I mean, at least she lost. That's fine. I mean, you expect her to lose. It makes me sad to see John Hennigan lose. Not to Samoa Joe necessarily, but I don't know. I don't like thinking of him as a jobber. I like thinking of somebody who could still be, a solid mid to top card guy, and has one more run.
Yeah, he could still contribute to something. I mean, it's not like he's coming in all out of shape and like he looks great. I want to drink out of the fountain of youth this motherfucker's drinking out of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got all the abs. I mean,
exactly, man. I mean, I got to give the motherfucker his due. He still looks the same as I did when I saw him back in fucking 2002. Like he looks great, and like he's. It's not like he's going out there and fucking up anything either. Like I've never seen John Morrison fuck up anything.
Well, he kind of did. He kind of did really, tonight.
Oh, well, I didn't see the match. So, what happened tonight?
Well, I mean, it wasn't like anything major, but like he was going for what is it? The I guess that 180 that he does, where like he like waves his hand in the air and then goes for like a 180. He kind of missed Joe by like just an inch.
Oh,
but it wasn't like anything like that was like major. But yeah, the match with Joe was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was a good match.
But, I mean, both guys know what they're doing, and they're not going to go and do too much. They'll do enough to wet the throat of the thirsty AEW audience, but they're not going to go out there and... Samoa Joe is not doing a 360 springboard planche off the fucking middle rope. I mean, it's...
Yeah, but he wrestles like Samoa Joe did. I mean, like, he accelerated a few times. He's the only person who I've ever seen do open palm strikes that look like they would hurt somebody. I mean, yeah. This was a good match. I mean, and their styles are very different. I don't know that I've ever seen them wrestle each other before. So, I mean, this was, I mean, when I saw it, I'm like, huh? But then I'm like, this is sort of a cool matchup. I'm glad I'm seeing this. You know, I like AEW when it's alternate WWE. It's just that it was supposed to be an alternative to WWE. It's just becoming alternate WWE. But I don't really mind that so much. It's just, I remember, it's just that, you know, that's what they said in the beginning is the opposite of they would do. But I don't care. That's water under the bridge. It's that their fans still pretend that they're doing something different, that they're not. I mean, it's like they're all in denial. And I don't know why that bothers me, but it does. I mean, it just say, okay, they're giving you a better version of WWE, you know? And I think I'd be happy if, like, all of a sudden, like, 700,000 people said, yeah, it's basically WWE, but it's better. It's like WWE was 15 years ago.
Right.
You know, then I'd be like, cool, let's all kumbaya and hug it out.
Yeah, but you got all these weirdos, and I see a lot of them. I'm in group chats with a lot of them. I'm like, look at these delusional fucks. Oh, AEW is the greatest thing ever. Oh,
Well, are you?
Tony Khan is the greatest booker of all times. Dusty Rhodes too. Like, come on.
And the wrestling media, they're the ones that, I mean, there's a whole industry that I mean, there's, like, in wrestling media, there's only the people who are, like, exuberant, you know, either trying to match or exceed the exuberance of the fans, or the other side, trying to be the anti. I mean, there's no lane for, you know, moderates. It's like politics. there's no lane for, like, you know, sort of like the reasonable middle.
Right. And you know, I'm a guy that's fair. Like, I always say it all the time on Twitter. So if I like something, I'm always going to praise it. If I don't like it, I'm just going to say I don't like it, and I'm going to explain why. I'm never going to be the guy where I'm going to be like, oh, WWE's the greatest, because it's not. I'm never going to be the guy that says AEW's the greatest either, because it's not. But what I will say is I will talk about what I like from both sides and what I don't like from both sides. And you can take it or leave it. And if you don't like it, you can shove it up your ass. Fuck it.
I think that, I mean, I sort of feel the same way, though I don't want anyone to stop anything up their ass.
I've seen you going at it with people online about certain opinions, and they're valid, Jeff. Like, that's how. But I think the thing is that when people get mad about certain opinions being thrown away, but they don't take the time to understand the reason why. See, one thing I always say about you, Jeff, give a thorough reason as to why you don't like something. You never just go, I don't like it. But why
and I'll admit my biases. You know, like I will say right from the top, I am biased against smaller wrestlers. That I think women's wrestling is a waste and there's no market for it. But then I will try to judge it by, like, you know, what I think is a reasonable or objective standard. Yeah, I don't think I'm unreasonable, but yes, I will fight with people online, and yes, I sort of enjoy that sometimes, and sometimes I don't. But it depends on my mood. No matter who they are, I want them to check out my shows, which is sort of, you know, which is originally why I had different Twitter accounts, but now they've all been corrupted. So I've lost my alter egos based on my own lack of self-control and my bad personality. So. On
like I think Monday or Tuesday, I was dealing with trolls. I don't know if you guys saw it. Where
well, you became a troll. I couldn't believe what you posted, and that was so not you.
Again, okay, RJ, did you see it?
No, this might have been while I was sleeping.
Okay, so you guys know who Girl on Cinema is, right?
Sure, my spirit daughter.
So I rarely do this. I like, you know, make comments on YouTube. So she had posted a video because I like her. I like her videos. I think she's actually kind of funny, and she actually makes a good point on certain things. Too. And you know, not for nothing, she's, you know, kind of very pretty. So she had posted a video about, you know, AEW, because she's very much like, she'll shit talk AEW, but it's like with Jeff, like, he doesn't just like talk shit about AEW for the, you know, sake of talking shit about AEW, or just like in wrestling in general. Like, he'll actually like bring up solid points and bring up a nice argument. Like, she does the same.
Do you think if I post cute photos of myself, I'll get her following?
You know what? I think if you wore a nice, I mean, it's worth a try. Like, wear a nice skirt. We'll see how that. Okay. We'll see what that gets. But you know, she posted a video, and I forgot what the topic was, but it's basically like, you know, AEW is not as great as we want it to be. So I just put in the comment section, I'm like, you know, I'm a WWE fan through and through. You know, even through the bad times, and you know, there's been a lot of bad times, but you know, I tried getting into AEW, just wasn't my thing. That's all I put. I didn't put anything like hateful or, bad or mean. And of course, I get the flood of comments saying, oh, you like WWE, you suck. You don't have any taste. And then, one person just said, I feel pity for you. I don't know what about that set me off. I just think I was in a mood on Monday. I was in a bad mood. So I decided, you know what? You're my bitch. I'm going to make you my bitch for the day. So I put in the comment section. Let me just pull it up real quick because I need to.
You said that you were pity that his mother didn't abort.
Let me say it because RJ doesn't know it. Let me say it. All right. So where the fuck is it? All right. Here's what I put, RJ. You ready? I feel pity for your mother for not aborting you when she had the chance. Head back to your basement and jerk off to Japanese wrestling vids and let the adults talk.
Oh, God, that's. I'm with Jeff. That's a little cruel for Drew Yari, isn't it?
Yeah, that's beyond where I would go.
Way beyond me. Jesus Christ.
And I'm terrible. I mean, it's actually in the name. I'm Evil Dose.
Like I said,
I'm not gonna lie. Like I get pretty nasty on Twitter sometimes, but damn, that's never come out of my mouth.
I mean, I might say pity the homeless and give some money to charity. Don't worry about what I'm watching on television. Don't worry about which fake fighting I like better. I mean, get a little perspective, dude. But okay, listen, it was nice to see. It was weird that you posted it on Facebook, like you were bragging that you told someone's mother that they should have aborted them. But unless this is your changing brands, unless this is your heel turn.
I mean, I've kind of been a heel for a while. This is probably my official heel turn. So I don't know.
Good. Keep it
up. Like I said, I usually don't engage with trolls, but I was in a mood. Need some steam. So
next stop, buy a pizza place in DC and start kidnapping babies. There you go.
Jesus Christ! That's
on your brand. That's what you're doing now.
Oh God!
It's like here's today's special. Wink.
All right. So want to hear a less serious Twitter story?
Yeah.
So So some guy follows me today, and I'm pretty good about following almost everybody back, unless I see it's like one of those accounts that's there's like they follow 37,000 people, but nobody follows them, and it's like some girl with posting shots of her bikini because I don't feel like getting like ads like, hey, how are you? I don't care. I'm not following those folks back. But like a person has a regular profile, doesn't have a lot of followers, whatever. I remember starting Twitter was hard, so I follow back. So I'm starting getting DMs, and one is just like, hi. Okay, hi. And then he's like, brother, do you know about the Illuminati? So I'm like, oh, he probably listens to the Garden of Doom. So I'm like, of course I know about the Illuminati. And then he's like, I'm from the Illuminati online recruitment wing. What do you know about the Illuminati, brother? I'm like, I know they don't recruit on Twitter. And he's like, you're wrong. They do, and you may not know about us, but we know about you. And then he's like, do you want to hear more, brother? I'm just like, okay, I've had enough of this ding dong. I'm like, I'd really love to thank you for the opportunity, but this week I'm weighing offers from the Knights of the Round Table, the Templars, and the New World Order. But why don't you check with me in 2 weeks?
He's coming.
New World Order.
Right.
All right. So, Kyle, I know we took like 10 hours answering your question, but thank you for the question, Kyle.
Very tall.
That's all the questions for tonight. I actually want to ask RJ some questions. So, and this will be how we peace out tonight. So, I asked Jeff these questions on our on our Patreon channel. So I'm gonna ask RJ some questions. So, this is gonna be a survey. Are you ready, RJ?
Hey, yo, I'm about to take a survey.
It's a survey by the great Bernard Pivot. RJ, What is your favorite word?
My favorite word?
Mm-hmm.
Based off usage, I guess fuck is my favorite word.
Okay.
It's also your favorite action, so.
Yeah, exactly. That too.
All right. What is your least favorite word?
stand. I hate that word. I know it's a name, but like it's a term obviously online now, and I can't stand it.
Which is?
Dan is a term?
Stan. I stand him. I stand her. I can't stand that.
Got it.
It's just awful.
All right. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Creatively. Like artwork, like as far as like a creative thing, like I don't know, like I gravitate towards like just out there shit. Which is why like me and Morgan get along so well, is because like she like draws, and you see some of her stuff on Twitter, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like some of the artwork is just like fucking out there, and it's like, damn, but it looks so damn good. And so like I like shit like that. It's like spiritually,
Well, I mean,
really a spiritual thing.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be.
But,
Well, I mean, you don't have to answer all three. You can just like lump it all into one thing, or it can just be one or the other. Doesn't matter.
right. But like, but yeah, artwork really does kind of like, ding those lights in my head, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Spiritually, like I said, I'm not much of a spiritual, virtuous type guy. That's never really been my MO. But like, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I do love creativity. Like, I appreciate creativity a whole lot, especially with the writing that I do, and of course, I do the EFED stuff, and that requires some inch of creativity to write stories and stuff. So yeah, like I mean, I've always had an appreciation for the creative.
What turns you off?
Oh, somebody that's dumb. Somebody that's just blatantly dumb. I just can't do it. I can't do it. It's just awful. Especially a woman that's just blatantly dumb. I just can't do it. I just make like Kevin Castro say, that's a bonus shrinker. I'm going down the slippery slope. It's over.
You kind of already answered this, but what's your favorite curse word?
Yeah, it's my favorite curse word.
Fuck. Okay. What sound or noise do you love?
Well, a woman's moans, that's very good to hear.
All right.
To open the rift to a couple of rock songs made me go ooh ah. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I mean, context really is key with that statement.
All right. I mean, there really is no right or wrong answer to these. Right. Next one is, what sound or noise do you hate?
Oh God, I hate cat scratches against my goddamn outside of my window. That's annoying as hell. I'm like, hey, can you please stop that? I'm trying to sleep. And you hear that scratch and shit on the window. I'm like, oh no.
Oh yeah, we
gotta stop.
We have plenty of that over here. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I would like to do writing. Like, I'd like to be an author. Like, I know it's probably like unusual, but yeah, like, would definitely like to write some stories and publish them and just dip my toes in that. But yeah, that's definitely one choice that I would love to dip my toes into.
What profession would you not like to attempt?
Plumbing. What else? There's not much I wouldn't do, but it's just like plumbing. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't want to work in law enforcement. For scary reasons, I wouldn't want to be a firefighter either. Which is why firefighters have my utmost respect And every time I do go to New York, I always visit the famous NYPD department because it's just like I love the firefighters in New York, and I know like they're probably aren't the same roster that it was the last time I was there, but like I just love the firefighters there, man. So good people, so much good people. But yeah, those would probably be the three professions that I wouldn't do.
And lastly, if heaven does exist, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Welcome home, Raven King RTJ. Your job has been done. Yay! Let's go.
All right, that's beautiful, beautiful. All right, that is the show, guys. That is all the questions. Thank you guys for the questions. This is a great show. Thank you for Jeff for coming on the show. Thank you for RJ for coming on the show. Thank you both for coming on the show tonight. This was a fun show.
You're welcome, sir. Anytime.
All right, go ahead and plug your stuff, guys. Whoever wants to start.
Go ahead, RJ.
You go ahead, Jeff. You got more on your plate than I do at this point.
Yeah, that might be true. I don't know. It's always changing. But yeah, well, my wrestling podcast is Hammerlock Hangover. I co-host with Steve Pena, who some of you might know. It's on this very network, on the Wrestling Soup Network. Also, my non-wrestling podcasts. I mean, if you got a whiff of the media I'd want to hear, and the all three of those, that's sort of representative of things that we cover on Garden of Doom. Cryptids, esotericism, theology, philosophy, some of those words mixed up together that are real words. Sometimes they're word salad, but it's a variety. So check that out. Got some good guests. Just celebrated our 100th episode with one of the authors featured on Graham Hancock's page. So if you're at all familiar with that sort of alternate world, Graham Hancock's one of the giants. Anyway, Garden Views is a little bit more magazine, more newsy. We take one topic and we generally do a deep dive into it. Some of the shows have been more interview based or more frivolous, but lately it's been legal stuff. We've talked about mental health law, student loan law, commercial law, and I've been doing sort of a continuing series on the what might be the law of space. And so we've talked about cryptocurrency, talked about the law of the sea, admiralty and maritime law, federal labor laws, which tied to ports and docks. Had an air traffic controller on that was this week, so you can sort of see where we're building. We had an immigration attorney talk about international organizations and diplomatic status. So we're slowly but surely going in that direction. I found an author who's writing a book on this subject. I found a Georgetown law professor who's looking into law. He's committed. A guy who wrote an article for the DC Bar Journal. He's committed. So we're slowly waking up, making our way up the chain. I can spoiler at the end. The world's going to be the British East India Company. Well, not the world. It's going to be the British East India Company. You're going to have Elon Musk garrisoned with U.S. Marines in the ships. But that's what we'd like to avoid. That would be a repeat of prior errors. But China may be playing forcing the hand, and I guess the world sucks. But anyway, that's what Garden Views is. But we also do other things like I'm going to interview someone who started their own like cheesecake business from a cottage industry. We're going to cover some of the worst tax loopholes and tax shelters that the rich exploit in coming weeks, and also cannabis, the laws and regulations regarding marijuana. So we're sort of all over the place, but at least it's hopefully you will learn something. Hopefully it's entertaining, but the shows should be entertaining, informative, and educational, but I'll settle for 2 out of 3. If I only do 1 out of 3, that's sort of a fail.
RJ.
Yeah, and not to kiss ass or anything like that, but those guys deserve all the support that that they can get. Jeff and Steve are good guys. I know Steve. He and I kind of we combat a lot of the marks within this little group chat we have on Instagram. So yeah, I know Steve very, very well. Very, very great guy, and they really deserve all the support that they can possibly get. You can follow me on Twitter at LowRJUnlimited, where anything that's coming out of my mouth that has no limits. You can also subscribe to Drew Yari's Patreon, where you can hear more of me. And if you want to support any endeavors that I'm doing, I am currently a part of this new project that I'm doing called KCW. It's a WWE 2K Fed, and we stream on Twitch. I'm working with a couple of partners, a couple of good friends, Logan Slater and Ryan Adams, and we're putting together this big call league, Creator Wrestler League. And yeah, like, join us for some streams. We stream on Tuesday, Thursday, sometimes on Saturday. It's really, really fun to do. And yeah, just join us, and I'll leave links in the chat for anybody that might be interested. And if anybody wants to join, if you have a creative character already made or something like that, or want one made, just let me know and we can get you in there. It's a fun experience, and everybody's having fun with it so far. So yeah, just let me know. But besides that, that's pretty much it for me, man.
All right. And also, congratulations to Jeff Lippman for 100 shows. 100 episodes, I'm sorry.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, that's a big feat, man. So congratulations, and you deserve it.
Listen to Jeff.
I don't think anybody realizes just how much of a feat it is for me, because I'm a tech idiot. So once Shaheen sort of went to do his own thing and left me to my own devices, I'm just lucky that La Sakari is a computer genius. So really, without her, there'd be no shows. But yeah, no, it's been an adventure, and not that I don't like having friends in my connections as guests, but like I still try to do that. But I'm really getting to the level where I'm getting best-selling authors and people with credentials and hosts of like major podcasts, and I think in less than 2 years I've sort of gotten to the point where it's like I'm almost getting booking of like real shows, like corporate shows, like I'm almost there.
All right, they're well deserved, man.
Well deserved. I'm proud of you, man. Really proud of you.
So if people would just listen, it'd be great.
Everyone listen to Jeff's podcast. If you're a wrestling fan, Hammerlock Hangover. If you're not a wrestling fan, if you like hearing about the news, you like hearing about history, if you like hearing about anything that's not wrestling, Jeff has you covered. Yeah. He's got you covered.
Listen, if you like anything alternative, or you like history, or you like space and weird stuff, but you don't want to commit to one podcast, and listen to 7 different podcasts on all these different topics, you just need to listen to mine. Eventually, I'm going to get to your topic, what you like, and eventually I'll repeat it. So I'll do Norse mythology. Then in 4 months, I'll do Greek mythology. I'll have people who write about UFOs. I'll have people who cover demons and angels. I'll have someone, Drew will come on. We'll talk about the MCU, and so eventually, whatever you like, we'll hit it. And I don't know. It's different. It's sort of genre defined, which is sort of tough. But I do it mostly for me. But it would be nice to have some third party validation.
And also the Patreon. Can't forget about the Patreon. Just $5 a month, guys. I do shows with 2 of these gentlemen, as well as Ruben Prime, who was in the chat room earlier. Not sure if he's still here, but I do. Yeah, Patreon network with well, first of all, Jeff Lippman. We do a show called From Our Lips to Your Ears. We just had a show last week. Go listen to that. I do a show with RJ. It's called Revenge of the Savage Nerds. I do a show with Ruben. It's Worst of the Worst. Great shows, guys. I'm not just saying that because it's, these are my friends and it's, my Patreon. These are really good shows. If you want to take a break from wrestling, these are some good shows. We talk about some fun shit. We talk about life. We talk about movies. We talk about, comic books. We talk about cartoons, video games, what have you. We got you covered. It's the Patreon. Head over to the Patreon, just $5 a month. I have the link pinned to my Twitter page. So once you go to my Twitter page, it's the first thing that's on there. So you can just click on it. It takes you straight to the Patreon. Just $5 a month. It's a pretty good deal. $5 a month goes a long way. But
he's a civil servant, folks. He's a civil servant. Help him.
Help me, guys. Help me. Anyways, guys, it's getting late over here. So if I don't upload this tomorrow, I will definitely upload it on Friday. But anyways, guys, have a great week. Have a great night. Have a great night. Have a great week. And also, peace.
Peace.
Stay evil, my friends.